Anyways, that's what you missed on Glee.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Cass.
And you're listening to
Two Book Bitches. Welcome back to the podcast. How's everyone doing? Good? Stunning.
Fantastic.
Let's jump into it.
Honestly, there's just too much to say today and not enough time.
What are we doing today, Kat?
So today is a very special episode.
So special.
Where Cass is going to explain Throne of Glass to me, as well as all the listeners out there who never read Throne of Glass, and who probably might never read Throne of Glass. And since Crescent City 3 is just around the corner, and since we're in multiverse land now, and there may or may not be some kind of connection to Throne of Glass in CC3.
Who knows?
We thought it would be helpful to everyone and myself if Cass explained Throne of Glass and gave us the lowdown just in case. You know, you never know. Might be important, might be not.
Who knows?
Or, you know, maybe there's some of you out there who just couldn't get to Throne of Glass in time before CC3 release. So you just want a quick little rundown.
I'm going to do my best.
Yes, you will. I believe in you.
We're going to race through, okay? Buckle the fuck up. I'm going to do a general overview of the plot, and I'm going to be so for real. Like, these books are so... There's, like, 8 books, right? I don't know. They're long. It's a lot. Also, I just think they're way more plot-driven. I really like this story. I will say that I think the time in my life that I read it, I was a little old.
We talked about this literally the other day. We were saying that, like, this is a kind of book that if I read when I was 16 would probably become my entire personality.
100%.
But I think that now what I like in books, this series is a little bit lacking.
Yeah. It is
so
true. It's a true, like, YA. Like, this is a really
and it's
true
definitely
YA.
More fantasy than romantasy.
100%. Romance plays a role. Like, everyone's fucking fall in love left, right, and center.
But, like, I need a little bit more romance to be the center of the plot.
So
I need some smut in it.
Yeah.
And this just doesn't have that. So for me, I find, like, I know it's a lot. It's like it's such a long series. So for me, it's just really hard to start and make that time investment.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I've never started it.
Yeah, it's a lot. However, I really do like these characters, though, and I'm very curious to see if SJM revisits these characters ever again. I'm really curious. I have my own theory, which we'll go into in our theories episode, but right now, I'm just going to try and roll through the plot. I will get stuff wrong. Please be kind. Like, I read these books, and I looked at, like, I try my best to, like, put everything together, so hopefully this kind of hits, like, the big points. There's also a prequel novella, like The Assassin's Blade. I did not cover it because it takes a lot for me to read a novella. I did not read it.
We generally don't read novellas.
Yeah.
My exception was
Frost and Starlight. Yeah, 100%.
I read it for the wall scene. So
yeah, I really don't. I really don't
read
read
it for.
novellas. I'm like, okay, massive spoilers ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Like, turn back now.
Or don't.
Because we're our moms and we can't tell you what to do, but if you want to learn about Throne of Glass, listen up. Okay, so Throne of Glass is the first book. I don't really think I'm going to review this one or tell you about this one because we did an entire episode on it. So if you want to know about Throne of Glass, please go listen there. But, like, general plot is, like, main character, Celaena Sardothien. She's an assassin. She gets rescued out of a prison by Kale, who's the King's Guard. Dorian's there. Dorian's daddy, really bad. We don't like him. King of Otterlin. Otterlin has, like, taken over the entirety of Aurelia. There's no magic. Boo. Celaena participates in, like, this really big, like, it's like a tournament where she wants to become the king's champion because then she'll be free, blah, blah, blah. She ends up winning. They uncover, like, a really evil plot that has to do with, like, a bunch of stuff. There's, like, a ghost named Elena. Everyone's name sounds the same.
So true.
She wins the tournament.
And she was, like, Dorian's
love interest, but then, like, also now she's with, like, she's Kale's love interest because she broke up with Dorian.
Everyone loves her.
It must be so hard.
Isn't she, like Dorian picked her to be his, like, tribute in this challenge or whatever?
Yeah. He picked her, and then Kale went to go pick her up. Anyways, that's what you missed on Glee. That's, like, really quick rundown.
If you want, like, a more in-depth on that
just
one,
go
we have
listen to our
an entire episode on that.
Okay, so next one, Crown of Midnight. All right, here we go. buckle in. So Miss Celaena is the king's assassin, and her entire job is to basically kill the people he wants dead, aka the people who are plotting rebellion against him. He's like, I don't like them, get rid of them. And she's like, no problem. But that doesn't sit well with her spirit. So she's like, I'm gonna fake these people's deaths and help them escape Otterland. This is such a good idea. I can use my powers for good. All this time, Nehemia, who's like one of her BFFs, and her are talking about the rebellion, and Nehemia promises to teach Celaena how to use the word marks, which are like these magic, like ancient language that we learned about in the last book, okay? The king calls on her with his next hit, and he wants her to take out this guy named Archer Finn, who is a suspected rebel leader. But it turns out Celaena knows him from her assassin days of yore. So she starts to learn more about him and his plan. She's like, I'm just gonna like watch this shit go down. Like, I need to take some intel in. During this time, Kayla and Celaena are making hard eye at each other, and they're like goo goo gaga, and our beautiful golden retriever Prince Dorian is like, okay, I gotta let this girl go. Like, she's clearly in love with my friend, blah, blah, blah. Celaena meets Roland, who is Dorian's like shitty cousin, but she notices that Roland, the king, Duke Parrington, these are all big bad guys, by the way, but like we don't like them. She notices that they're all wearing these like matching black rings, like friendship rings, but evil friendship rings. And she's like,
what?
They're all wearing matching black rings. Like, all these people. I'm not kidding. They're like,
but you just assume they're evil?
No, but like we kind of know, because like if the king's wearing it and all his cronies are wearing it.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of like, I'm putting two and two together. They're like bad friendship rings.
Okay.
Like, it's like matching, but like evil.
Like, but they're all BFFs.
Yeah.
They're evil BFFs.
They're just like an evil girl gang.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So they're all wearing, and these got these like sick ass black rings. Like, I'm
it.
sure they're cool looking, but like bad, you know? And Celaena's like, oh my God, what does this mean? This is crazy. Gotta remember this. Celaena opens up to Kale about Sam, and we learn who like killed Sam, and that Celaena fell into a trap while seeking revenge. And then like she's like thinking, she's like, what if my shitty boss Erawan was the one who set me up, and that's why I ended up in Endovier?
And so Sam was her love interest in Assassin's Blade.
Correct.
Who like died.
He's like the OG.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's like the OG love interest. He died in like a very gruesome way, and she was basically like set up, and that's how she ended up in prison. And it's now only hitting her that her former boss Erawan, who's like the Assassin's Guild guy, probably was the one who like did it.
He set her up.
And I'm like, now we're using our brains, Celaena Sardathian. Good job. Celaena wanders the castle at night, as she does, because she gets bored, and she sees this like cloaked figure, and her necklace, which she got in the first book, glows, and she's like, what the fuck? So she decides to head down to see Ghost Elena. This is like, again, everyone's name is the same. But a magic door knocker named Mort stops her. And I'm so fucking serious. Like, a literal magic door. Like, you know, like Alice in Wonderland, like the talking doorknob.
Literally what I was thinking right now.
That's exactly what I was picturing. And he's like, back the fuck up. So he stops her. The door knocker is super funny, but ultimately Ghost Elena is too tired to chat with our girl. She's like, gotta go to bed. Goodbye. Back with the Archer plot, Celaena runs into him and convinces him to have dinner with her. And during dinner, he's like begging for his life because like obviously he's like, oh my God, you're gonna kill me, SOS. We learn that he's a member of a rebel group who is looking for Aelin Galathinius, the long lost heir of Terrasen, so that she can be put back on the throne. Celaena is intrigued, even though she thinks this is impossible, and gives Archer a month to fake like off himself. Like, she's like, honestly, you got like 30 days, like kill yourself, I don't care, just like leave the city. See you later. But only after he gives her all the info he knows. Meanwhile, Celaena learns Kaltane, and Kaltane was kind of like a bitch in the first book, right? Like, she was kind of like rude. Like, we didn't really like her.
Don't ask me. I don't remember who that is.
I don't know who that man is.
Who is she?
She was the one who poisoned Celaena at the end of the first book. She was with Duke Parrington.
Oh, yes.
And,
okay.
like,
she's got ringing some very small bells.
She was also, like, had the hots for Dorian, but, like, she was promised to Parrington, but, like, who doesn't have the hots for Dorian?
Yeah, true. Me too.
So,
same.
Celaena finally learns that Kaltane is the one who poisoned her in the last book, and now it seems like Kaltane is going a little, like, screwy. She's, like, having, like, weird dreams, and apparently her family used to have magic, so maybe she was paired off with Duke Parrington for a nefarious reason. Like, it's all kind of shady.
You know what I'm thinking of when I keep hearing Parrington? You know, from Frozen, Duke Weaseltown, and he keeps saying, my name is Wesselton. They keep calling him Weaseltown. Sorry, this is all I can add to this episode.
No, I love
really
it.
Is just these random sidebars, because I don't know anything that she's telling me. This is all new information to me.
Okay. So, blah, 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 some stuff happens. Celaena finds this book in a guy's house, and it has this riddle on it, and it's like, it is It is only with the eye that one can see rightly. Great. She also finds this iron door that's like locked and it's down a secret hallway and it's covered in paintings of fae. Okay, these are 2 important points. Her and Nehemia get into a fight because Nehemia is all like, you're just the king's puppet, blah, blah, blah. So Celaena's like, oh my god, please, no. Like, she confesses everything about how she's like helping people escape, like Otterlin. She confesses about the riddle, and then now they're like, we're gonna work together to look for the answer. There's another ball, obviously, and Celaena is guarding, but then she also dances with Kale, which is like so cute. Great. Dorian gets so pissed off during a meeting with the king, who's his dad, by the way, and like the king's council, that he's like blows up a wall, aka like Dorian has magic,
which is new, right? Because he didn't have any magic.
There was like inklings of it, but like now we're really starting to see like, oh fuck, like this guy has magic, like this is bad news bears, because mind you, magic is like banned and outlawed, like it's not a thing. Another interesting little tidbit is that someone is making threats to Nehemia's life, but Kale doesn't tell Celaena. And this shit comes back to bite him in the asshole, okay? So now we get to the witchy part. There's a lot of jumping around in these books. So there are 2 factions of witches, the Cochrans and the Iron Teeth. The Cochran witches ruled peacefully in the Witch Kingdom, but that the Iron Teeth witches fucked them up and took over. And then the last Cochran queen cursed the Witch Kingdom to remain a wasteland. She was like, bitch, you are not taking this from my cold, dead fucking hands. I am salting the earth. Nothing will survive here. So now the witch lands are like desolate.
This is such like an interesting ad randomly to me somehow.
Like, well, yeah,
like all of a sudden witches. You didn't know that before, but witches.
Oh, so many characters get added to this. It's wild.
It truly
like
where do any of these people come from?
No,
just,
like truly
left and right.
Exactly. So there's also 3 groups within the Iron Teeth. There's blue bloods, fuck, these are like tongue twisters. Blue bloods, black beaks, and yellow legs. And during this carnival, right? They're like little colorful names. During this carnival that comes to town in like Rifthold, where like the castle is, where Celaena is, where everyone is, there is a Yellowlegs matron named Baba Yellowlegs. Remember this.
Okay, so I've heard of this person.
Yes, this is important.
Okay.
So Celaena is still trying to figure out the whole eye thing, and she thinks it has to do with her necklace. Also, Kale and her have sex. Yay.
Interesting.
Back to the carnival.
Isn't that like her first?
No.
Like,
wait, what? Sorry, go ahead. Her first.
I thought that was the first person she has sex with.
Honestly, maybe that's true, because I don't think she has sex with Sam because he died.
I think it is.
Because
they talk about it like being her first time.
You're right.
Because I did somewhat skim a little bit this book, and I remember saying
great. So it's her first time. They have sex. Stunning.
Because I'm a perv, and I literally just look for the
She's
sex
like,
scenes.
let me just... No, I love it.
Sorry.
Someone's got to take the one for the team. So back to the carnival, Dorian goes to visit the witch, Baba Yellowlegs, to ask about magic. And she's like, oh, some is gone, but some is still here. She's like very like wishy-washy about it. And in that same vein, Nehemia has this theory that the king himself is using magic, because otherwise how would he have conquered entire kingdoms and nations? Like, how is that possible? Kale gets kidnapped by Archer. This guy is always fucking getting into shit. I swear to God. Kale gets kidnapped by Archer and his rebel gang, and obviously Celaena goes to rescue him because they, like, you know, have a relationship. And then it's revealed that Archer was working together with Nehemia, but then, like, he pivots and he's like, oh, someone is going to kill Nehemia right now. So Celaena rushes back to the castle and finds Nehemia already dead. And it was, like, brutal. Like, she's dead.
You know, this is really hard for me.
What?
I'm really trying to keep up. It goes so fast.
Dude, do you want me to, is there anything you need me to repeat?
It's too late.
It's too late? You're on this ride.
I'm going to have to re-listen to this episode afterwards.
Yeah.
And just, like, slow you down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to put you on, like, 0.5.
Yeah.
To just really let it sink in. Because this is just going, like, a mile a minute.
Nehemia
like,
dead.
What? Okay, I got that part.
Dead. Brutal.
Wow. Shocking.
Died.
Did not see that coming.
I was actually really upset at this.
Yeah.
I really liked Nehemia's character, and I was, like, pissed like the fuck
she's dead
off.
really fast. Like, we're only in book, like,
and
2.
I don't like it because, honestly, it really was just a plot device to, like, drive the plot along, and I don't like when characters are used for that.
So she could have been alive.
There should have been some... Anyways, I digress. We'll talk about it in the theories episode, because I have things about this. Celaena is obviously super mad, so she tries to attack and kill Kale for not protecting Nehemia. She's like, fuck you, how could you not tell me, blah, 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 blah. But he's saved by Dorian and his magic. So now everyone's kind of like, oh, fuck.
Wait, did they explain what his magic is like?
We end up finding out that it's something called, like, raw magic, and it manifests a lot as, like, ice.
So all he can do is just like shoot ice out of his hands.
Yeah, it gets better like as the books go on. Like,
Okay.
I
thought he was shadowy.
No, he's icy.
Oh, so he was never shadowy. So why did I think he was shadowy?
He might have been at one point, but it ends up manifesting as like ice a
So
lot.
his power is just basically ice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And like, mind you, like this is like he doesn't know anything about it now, so he's like a
Okay.
newbie at it.
Got it.
Also, keep in mind Dorian and Kale have a very close relationship.
I mean, I think I
Like, I'm
knew
shocked
that
they've
already.
never kissed.
Yeah.
If I'm being so honest.
They're very much like
They're very
best
bromance.
friends.
Like very much like, and they were roommates, you know?
Mhm.
Celaena gets chucked into the dungeons for a bit, but she's obviously like released eventually. And all she wants to do is avenge Nehemia's death, and she does do this and slaughters the man who
Wait,
killed
why did she go to
Nehemia.
jail?
Because they're like mad at her for like trying to like fuck up Kale. They're like, you need to cool off, so they like toss her in the
Losers.
dungeons, you know?
Losers.
Yeah, but they let her go. So Celaena ends up figuring
It's like
out
the drunk tank, you know?
No, literally. They're like, you have to stay for like a night, and
Just to
just cool off.
Cool off.
Take a nap. Have a snack. So Celaena ends up figuring out the riddle using the sword of Damaris, which she got in like the first book, and this book, and this sword is Gavin's sword. So Gavin is Ghost Elena's husband, mind you.
Wait, what riddle?
The whole like the right eye like sees
that
through the
riddle.
bullshit,
Right.
blah 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 blah
Okay,
blah. It
yeah.
turns out she had to like use the sword or something
To like look through something?
to look through. Yeah, it was like
okay,
a whole
okay.
thing.
So wait.
Yep. Go ahead.
Wait.
Yep.
I feel like I've seen that plot before.
I think.
Where
I've
is
seen
do you okay,
this
follow me
one
for a second?
Yeah, I'm
Do
following.
you remember any plot in anything that we've seen together where there's a little stone that they have to look through?
This sounds so familiar, but I feel like
Okay, right? It does sound familiar. Like a stone they gotta look through. It's like a little tiny triangle looking stone.
are we thinking of Harry Potter? Are we just like the resurrection stone?
No.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. Keep thinking about that though, because
It's
now
gonna bother me, but
it
whatever.
is like
It's totally irrelevant, but okay.
no. Now I need to
Now
know.
I need
so.
to know what that is, but
yeah.
I'm just gonna Google it while I keep reading.
Yeah.
Keep
and
going.
because, one riddle is not enough, when she solves this riddle, it just gives her another riddle. And it gives her the riddle about 3 things that are hidden. That's literally it. Kale is also starting to get a little suspect at this point about Celaena's past after he hears her sing this like really ancient song in Nehemia's tomb. He's like, what the fuck? Like, how does she know all this shit? Celaena goes to visit the witch to ask about the hidden objects, and turns out there are these things called word keys to open 3 word gates to other worlds, and the keys were separated and hidden by the fae to stop these demon things called Volg, and apparently the king already has one of the keys, and the witch tries to like switch up on Celaena and kill her, but Celaena decapitates her, dead. Mind you, the witch also says something about Celaena being nameless, and this comes into play multiple times. So remember this. What the witch says here, and I don't remember the exact line, but it comes to play like literally so far into the series. So yeah, witch is dead. Celaena goes down into that locked door place, like the iron door, and opens it with word marks, and it turns out it leads to the like clock tower base, and the base is made of like obsidian, and that's the same material that the word gates are supposed to be made of. Celaena also realizes it's the same thing that the friendship rings are made of, like the one that the king and all his like best friends have, right? Dorian finds her down there, and they get ambushed by like this creepy ass monster, and like Dorian uses his magic to like freeze the monster, and Celaena kills it. And the weird thing is like this monster may have been like human at one point. Like, did you find it?
I did.
Okay,
she's keep going.
Okay. No, now I want to know.
Oh, okay, it's Coraline.
Oh, yeah, she looks through the... Okay.
See?
Oh, yeah,
There is also another one that I wasn't thinking of, but it's true. It's the Spiderweb Chronicles.
Oh, yeah, they look through things?
Okay, I feel so much better. Sorry.
Okay. No, I could just tell on your face you looked really happy, and I was like, oh, she found it.
Okay, anyways, keep going.
Celaena figures out this anagram on Ghost Elena's... Like, Celaena figures out an anagram on Ghost Elena's throne. Tomb or whatever, and realizes the word key must be in her crown, but it's like not there anymore. Mort the door knocker tells her that the king has had that key forever, and that he may even have up to 2 keys, and that he has magic like Dorian. Celaena is like spiraling at this point, and she's like, I need to talk to my bestie, but her bestie's dead, so she decides to open a portal to another world to talk to Nehemia, because like obviously that's the bright idea that she has. Nehemia pops up and is like, oh no, this is so dangerous. And they talk a bit, and Nehemia calls Celaena a bright light, and then she like disappears. And then Archer shows up. He's like, hey, what's up? And it turns out Nehemia parted ways with the rebels, and it was actually Archer who ordered her death. And then, because that's not enough, a monster appears, escaping from the portal. And that's bad. Luckily, Kale and Dorian show up because Ghost Gavin warned Dorian about Celaena's plan in his dream. Also, I forgot to mention Celaena's dog is there. And
I was going to ask where the dog was this whole time.
Yeah, the dog's here.
Oh,
so now the dog's here. And the dog runs into the portal after the monster. So Kale goes in after the dog and the monster. And Celaena knocks out Dorian before following Kale into the other realm.
Wait, why did she knock out Dorian?
Because he's trying to like stop her or something from getting into the thing, because he's like, no, don't, it's dangerous. And she's like, fuck you, and she like goes in.
Like, I'm a girl boss.
No, literally,
I do what I want.
Really, you want to know the boiled down plot of this? Everyone's like, Celaena, no, and she's like, Celaena, yes.
Love that.
Like, truly, everyone's like, this is a bad idea, and she's like, let's do it for the plot. And then she does it. And then when she goes into the other realm, it turns out Celaena is fae in this realm. Surprise. Like, she got the ears, she got the pointy canines and everything. Yeah, let that sink in for a bit. Let that marinate.
But is she going to stay in this realm?
No. Because she's just in a portal right now. She, like, pops in real quick to, like, save Kale and the dog.
Oh, but then she goes back to the...
Correct.
Okay.
So she gets both the dog and Kale out of the portal, and then she kills Archer. So she's back out. She's not a fae anymore.
Got it.
Right? So she, like, blipped into her, like, fae persona. I don't know. Her fae-sone, if you will. In the aftermath, Celaena decides that this... Or no, sorry, not Celaena, but Kale decides that the safest place to send Celaena is Wendlin, where the fae are. And he does so under the pretense that she has to, like, kill the royal family. And he pulls some strings with his own father to, like, grant her passage. Like, he has to make a promise to his dad. Like, it's all this thing. And Celaena tells everything she knows to Kale about the keys, the rings, how Kaltane and Roland are probably being used, like all of this shit. And Kale is like, what the absolute fuck is going on? And she also shares that she is the great-granddaughter of a fae, and he ends up realizing that she is the great-granddaughter of Queen Mab, one of the 3 fae queen's sister girlies. And that means that Celaena is actually Aelin Galathinius, long-lost heir to the throne of Terrasen. Secret royal plot. So that is book 2. So we end off with true identity.
That was something.
Yeah.
That was something.
That was something. I feel like now we really start to get into the real plot of the story, because like the first 2 books were kind of like fake plot. Now we're in the real deal, okay? Okay. So we're going to jump around POVs a lot. The next book is Air Fire, okay? So buckle up, strap in, ready to go. Lots of new characters get introduced. So we're going to have to really keep up here.
Got it. I'll try my best.
Selena is just chilling in Wendlin, basically just like fucking around, fighting people, suntanning. Like, that's literally what she's doing. She's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just here for a good time kind of thing. You know, just girly things. She was sent here to kill the royal family, the Ash Rivers, but obviously she's not going to kill them because technically she's related to them through her mother's side, because her full name is like Aelin Ash River Galathinius. Okay? At this point, she hasn't like accepted her like identity kind of thing. So I'm still going to call her Celaena. Okay? She decides that the best idea is to ask her great aunt, Queen Maeve, about the word keys. So it's super fucking lucky that she's found...
so her great aunt is Queen Maeve.
Yes.
I've heard of this woman.
Because her great grandmother is Queen Mab, and Mab's sister is Maeve, which makes Maeve her great aunt.
Got it. I've heard of this woman.
Yes.
I've heard some interesting things about this woman. She has like dark hair, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She's sexy. Ooh, I mean, I think everyone in this book is sexy.
Totally.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think this book is just like hot people fucking shit up.
Love that.
Is like really what I love, okay? So she wants to go to Maeve. She runs into Prince Rowan Whitethorn. We love him.
Oh, so he's this character's introduced in the 3rd book.
Correct.
Got it.
We just got introduced to Rowan. And everyone loves him. Everyone goes crazy for this man. He's like white-haired, tattooed, big, grumpy.
You know what for me really kills it? And I will die on this hill.
Go ahead.
The tattoos on his face.
They like kind of like creep up his face a little bit, and she really doesn't like that.
I hate it. I actually hate that.
I like him as a character. He's not my favorite, but like they have like good moments. Like,
no, I don't mind. Like I think he's cool.
You just like don't think about the tattoos.
I just don't like when I picture him. I have to remove the tattoos from his face.
I picture him as Geralt of Rivia, like a la Henry
Right,
Cavill.
but he doesn't have tattoos on
Exactly.
his face. So the tattoos on his face don't exist.
Exactly.
Okay, I glad we're agreeing on that.
Yeah. So,
My canon is no tattoos on his face.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So she's met by him. He's like, I'm going to take you to Maeve, because we find out later that he's like blood sworn to Maeve, like him and like a bunch of other fae called like the Cadre, and like they're all like, anyways, it's like a whole thing. Now we're back at the castle. Adian Ash River. Remember
It's
that
a new
name?
guy?
This new guy.
Okay, I was like, I've never heard his name before.
Adian Ash River, one of the king's generals, arrives, much to Kale and Dorian's chagrin, because apparently he's like a pompous ass and just like very cocky, and they don't like him. Also, Kale.
Is he human or fae?
He's human.
Okay.
I believe he's human. I think he stays human too, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
He might have some lineage, but
Got it.
Kale is being a little bitch about Dorian being magic, and Kale is like, I'm not gonna be your friend anymore. Like, literally, he's actually the most annoying person in this book is fucking Kale. Like, he's like, I'm not gonna be your friend anymore because you have magic, and like, I don't like it. And he's having a really hard time with the truth
so
about.
Mean.
I know, and he's having
That's magicist.
no, but he's so not supportive, and he's having a hard time with Celaena's identity. I'm like, sir, like, she literally fucking saved your ass. But
are they together at this point? Or
no,
they broke up.
No. They broke up.
Okay, got it.
No, obviously, like, they're still kind of hung up on each other, but like,
Right.
still, you know what I mean? Like, they're not
Right.
together. Dorian at this point also meets Sorsha, a healer who has a crush on him. Okay, then flip to the witches. We get introduced to Manon Blackbeak at this point, heir to the Blackbeak clan and leader of the 13, and it's like this badass like sect of the clan, like her and her like all her hot friends, like they're like tough shit kind of thing. And she's basically like fucking around and hunting down Cochrane witches and killing villagers. Like, literally, this woman like does not give one fuck about like anyone but herself and her 13. Like, that's literally it. Because remember, the Iron Teeth witches don't like the Cochrane witches, are killing them all. Great. Now we're back with Celaena. Her and Rowan arrive at this like fortress on the border to Dornell, which is Maeve's city, and this is where the demi-fae live. And demi-fae are like half fae, and they're not accepted into like the people side, but they're not accepted into the fae side either. It's like very sad. Maeve basically tells her she will find her answers to the word keys in Dornell, but she can only come to the city when she has remastered her fire magic, because like, mind you, Celaena Aelin comes from this like line of like magic wielders, like fire wielders through her father's side and water wielders through her mother's side. Okay, so she's like, and she used to have these powers when she was a kid. So Maeve is like, you gotta like remaster the shit, otherwise I'm not letting you in the city, like, you dumb bitch. So she is tasked to stay in the fortress and train with Rowan. Now we're back with Manon. She meets up with her grandmother, who is the head of the Blackbeaks, and she learns that the Iron Teeth witches are to join the king's army in exchange for help reclaiming their like lands, and they have to travel to these mountains to train to ride Wyvern.
You know, it's so funny because truly, what happened to the original plot of the movie?
This book,
what is happening?
This series is truly like, oh, like, remember all that stuff that we did, but not important
like
anymore.
The first book makes no sense as the story is going.
Oh yeah,
it just seems so out of pocket.
It's trivial.
Yeah,
the first book's plot ends up being like trivial. It's just kind of like to lay the scene,
like
and
that whole like tournament trial thing. It's so useless.
Yeah, just a plot device to like introduce a bunch of stuff.
So
right?
Interesting.
That's why I'm saying this book is much more plot heavy than her other series.
Oh,
like,
look, Wyvern. Wonder where we've seen that also.
Exactly.
But this was first. So
yeah.
Just saying.
You also learn that the witch clans all basically hate each other, like the Yellowlegs, the Blackbeaks, and the Blue Bloods. Like, they all are mad at each other. They like don't like it. But they still get together to hold a memorial service for Baba Yellowlegs. Remember, this is the witch.
She died?
Remember, this is the witch that Celaena killed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Baba Yellowlegs.
Right.
Dead.
She was kind of creepy.
Exactly.
Woman. Right, yeah.
Exactly. And she's the one that tells like Celaena this like prophecy-style-esque line that's going to come back into play. So we're back with Celaena. She's training with Rowan. And this shit is true enemies to lovers, dude. Like, they're beating the shit out of each other. Like, Rowan literally beats the shit out of her. Like, he is mean. Like, I was, like, reading this and I was like, oh, my God. Like,
see, I don't know if I like that.
No, he's, like, mean
like,
to her in the
beginning.
I
like a little bit of, like, the scenes where they're doing some hand-to-hand combat. But they're not, like, beating the crap out of
No,
each
they're
other.
literally beating the shit out of each other. It's like brutal, like the training, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Doesn't he like bite her or something?
Yeah, it's like a lot.
And he like draws blood.
Yeah,
like, that's
it comes up. It's fucked. Like they're very mean to each other
like
at
that's
first.
very interesting of people to like him.
I mean,
that's
obviously he like
interesting.
redeems himself
Obviously,
and like, but still, you know what I mean?
Still, like,
I was like, when I was reading this at first, I was like, oh my, this is your man? I was like,
right?
This
like,
is your man?
But they're literally beating the shit out of
But
each
then
other.
I was kind of like, I mean, I guess like Reese at the beginning was kind of like dubious.
He didn't lay a finger on Feyre.
That's true. That's true. That's
Like,
true.
actually, though, he never touched her.
He didn't beat the shit out of her, that's for sure.
No.
So Celaena really doesn't want to accept her fae side, but she has this like breakdown during a dangerous situation and Rowan helps her get through it. So like you start to see like the healing of their relationship a bit, okay? During this time, she's also slowly making friends with the demi-fae at the fortress. Like they're all starting to become like a happy little family. It's very cute. We're back with the witches. They start to train with the Weaverns, and obviously the 13 are amazing at it. And mind you, like they're not bonding with any Weaverns right now. They're just practicing with like all the Weaverns kind of thing. And we get to meet Iskra, this like yellow legs heir, and she's like a huge fucking bitch, and she comes up entirely too much in this series, and I hate her. Meanwhile,
Okay.
yeah, just a
So we
little
don't like
tidbit.
Iska?
We don't like
Iskra?
Iskra.
Got it.
Fuck Iskra.
Got it.
Honestly, fuck a lot of the witches except for like the 13 and Petra. I do love Petra, but that's a whole other thing. We'll get there, don't
But
worry.
are the witches wrong, or is everyone else wrong?
The witches are very complicated.
Because, like, you gotta support the witches always. You know?
I love the witches. I just think I love the witches. You know what? It'll become more clear.
Okay.
And I'll tell
I
you-
don't know why you don't
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah, just
Okay.
we'll get there.
But I'm
I
always
promise.
gonna be on the witches' side. So if they don't like
No,
someone,
same.
then I don't like them either.
Right, so we meet her, she's a bitch. Meanwhile, Dorian is visiting Sorsha a lot, and it turns out she knows all about him and Celaena and, like, Kale's shenanigans, but she promises she won't tell anyone. And she sees his magical outburst, and she's like, don't worry, I'll cover for you and help you control it. Great. So they're starting to bond. Kale gets kidnapped again. This man's always getting kidnapped. And he gets kidnapped at Adian's party. And he's taken by Adian, Ren, and Murtagh, and they're all citizens of Terrasen, mind you, okay? Adian is using a fake black friendship ring because he had bad vibes about the one that the king gave him. Like, the king was like, oh my god, take this friendship ring. And Adian was like, oh my god, thank you. And then he took it and he was like, oh my god, this is like...
So he made a fake one.
So he was like, there's bad vibes on this
Oh,
shit. Like,
okay.
you gave this one the evil eye. Like, I'm not taking it. So he made
Got
a
it.
fake one so that the king still thinks that they're friends, but, like, they're really not. So Kale tells him that, like... Or Kale tells all of them, really, like, the three of them, that Elena is alive. And then they strike up this deal to exchange information with each other. So we're back with Celaena. She still hasn't shifted. And Rowan gets so pissed off at her that he, like, bites her.
Shifted into what?
Like, into her fae form.
Oh, that's what he's trying to get her to do.
He's trying to get her, because she only did it when she was in that realm.
Right.
And he's like, you have a fae form, like, it's available to you. You need to learn how to shift into it, because that's, like, kind of like the first step of her using her powers.
Understood.
So he gets mad at her, and he bites her, and then she gets so pissed off, and this causes her to shift into a fae. So, like,
So
yay.
this is when he bites her.
Correct. This is when he bites her.
Interesting choice.
Exactly. But then Rowan is a big dumbass because at his core, he is a boy. And he threatens to, like, lash her.
What? Like whip her?
Yeah.
Sir.
I know. So she...
Calm down.
So Celaena...
Who is this man?
I know. So I told you, it's true enemies to lovers. Like, they're mean to each other at first.
See, but this is not the kind of enemies to lovers that I like.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, I like the enemies to lovers where, like, you hate each other, but, like, in a fun way.
In, like, a sexy
You
way.
know? Like, you're like, let me flirt with someone I shouldn't because we're actually enemies.
Exactly.
But I'm a flirt anyways.
I'm a flirt
for
anyways.
fun. See,
It's for the plot.
This is like, I'm gonna whip the shit out of you.
No, literally. He's
Because
like, I'm gonna lash
I feel
you.
like it. That's
Exactly.
yeah.
So Celaena runs into the woods and she lights a fire, which attracts skinwalkers, but Rowan comes to her aid and forces her to shift. Celaena ends up lighting the skinwalkers on fire.
What's a skinwalker?
I think it's just like a type of monster.
Okay, cool.
And to be fair, I think skinwalker is like a very like sacred, or like, it is a bad thing, but it's very like entrenched in indigenous culture. So I'm sure if you wanted to know like the actual thing about skinwalkers, like you can probably like read about it from like indigenous like authors or sources, because it's very like important to their culture. I realized that after, and I was like, ooh, like
so she kind of borrowed this from like
indigenous culture.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's a lot of lore that goes behind them. So like if you're interested, the lore is really interesting.
Okay, I did not know
Maybe
that.
I'll put some links or something. So yeah, she lights the skinwalkers on fire, and this is kind of like, okay, she's starting to use her powers. Like she's getting a grip, you know? So we're with the witches. They're all fighting for their pick of the weavers, and Iskra and Iskra and Manon are fighting for this one dragon, like this really big, fancy.
Is it a dragon or is it a wyvern?
It's a wyvern, but I call them dragons sometimes because I don't like the word wyvern, but that's just like a personal thing.
Well, they're kind of the same thing, but like
different.
The wyvern like
has the wing
arms.
They're like bats.
4 actual
feet,
arm
and then wings. Exactly.
So basically, like all the dragons in Game of Thrones
are wyverns. Yeah, correct. So they were fighting, whatever, but Manon actually ends up claiming a bait beast dragon. And a bait beast is like dragons they put inside the ring for like the other bigger dragons to fight. And she ends up claiming him because he's really like cunning. Like he's really tiny and he's kind of like all fucked up because he's been like beat up so much by the other dragons,
and by
or whatever.
Claiming, are we like bonding to these dragons?
Yeah, like that's like their dragon.
Okay, so Ala like a 4th wing.
Exactly.
Okay.
But her grandmother's like really pissed off at this. She's like, you dumb fucking bitch. Like, why would you claim this dragon? Like, he sucks. But she doesn't care. And she names him Abraxas. And she helps him recover. Yep.
No, it's not the same name.
It's not the same name, but it's very similar.
But I feel like this name is somewhere in... Has this name not ever appeared in Avatar before?
Bryaxis.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Very close.
But it's very similar.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ataraxia, like it's kind of like
name. But also, is this not like? Wow, the more you're reading this to me, it's basically like 4 away. This is literally Endarna.
Ooh.
So she definitely took a lot of inspiration from
perhaps
Throne of Glass. Maybe.
Perhaps.
I guess no thought is really original.
I know. So yeah, she names him Abraxos, and she helps him recover, and she replaces his teeth with iron. So like he's an iron teeth now. It's kind of cute.
Ouch! What do you mean? She pulls out his teeth?
No, he didn't have any. He like didn't have teeth. He didn't have like.
She gave him some teeth.
She gave him teeth of iron. She replaces his like spikes with iron because he didn't have any. They were all broken.
Okay, got it.
And she also like helps him fly, and she feeds him like better meat, and she like replaces his wings and like fixes them because like they were all broken with like the spider silk. So she basically like heals him.
So this is literally toothless.
No, yeah, actually.
From How to Train
No,
Your
this is
Dragon.
no, actually.
Like yeah,
no, like
teeth, gives him teeth. He's missing a freaking wing. She gives him a wing.
No, like this is very accurate. Okay, now we're with Kale. Kale and Adian keep meeting, and they're discovered by like Dorian, and Adian reveals that waves from 2 directions were felt the day magic disappeared, and that the magic seems to have disappeared from like this triangular geographic area, so like kind of like the Bermuda Triangle. Specifically, it happens to be in the middle of like 3 points of obsidian clock towers. So like obsidian, they triangulate, all the magic is gone from the area. Okay? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm following you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Also, Dorian is kissing Sorsha. Surprise.
Cute.
Everyone is falling in love in this book. Like literally everyone.
But I feel like they change a lot of the love. Like
they do.
They're hopping around.
They do.
From people,
it keeps hopping around. Don't get attached. With Celaena and Rowan now, we're basically learning that Maeve is a big fucking bitch, which is like, shocker. She's the worst. Also, Celaena is remembering memories from her childhood. She's using magic and she's regaining like memories of like her cousin Adian, who was like always with her. They were like BFFs. It's very sweet.
Wait, is this when it's revealed that it's her cousin, or she knew this whole time?
I think it's like revealed here, if I remember correctly.
So she didn't know that was
She's kind of like remembering.
Right, but she didn't know before.
Mind you, and she doesn't know that Adian's at the castle.
Oh, so Adian hasn't seen her yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
They have not seen
Because don't you think he would remember that that's his cousin?
They have not seen each other since childhood. Because
Got
the
it.
brief stint she was at the castle, he was never there because he was up in the north with the armies.
Got it.
Right. And mind you, he's looking for Aelin.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
I 100% understand.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So this is super cute. Rowan's friend Gavriel, and this is one of his like warrior friends who work for Maeve. Like they're all like blood bonded to her.
A new character?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Gavriel visits him, and Rowan is like tattooing him. This is like a big motif. Like they tattoo like stories to commemorate like things on their bodies.
Interesting.
And then Celaena like sees, and then because like Rowan has no fucking chill, instead of just being like, hey man, can you like leave, me and my bestie are having a moment, he gets so mad and sends her away. And this is like when she's feeling like really low, like she's like, I have no one and nothing left, like there's no one who's on my side, there's nothing left for me, I have no friends, no family, nothing. And like Rowan is being like a big fucking cunt, pardon my French. Blah, blah, blah. Some stuff happens. They find a sword and a ring. This is kind of important, especially the ring. One of the cooks knows who Celaena really is, and then Rowan because he like had worked with her mother, so he like recognized her or something like that. And then Rowan shares with her that he lost his pregnant mate while he was off fighting, and he hasn't been the same since.
Oh, so that's why he's such a bitch.
Exactly. So he was off fighting for Maeve, and while his mate was pregnant, dead. It's very sad.
That is traumatic.
So now they basically start bonding, Rowan and Celaena. They're basically both just two lonely lost souls, and they start to bond very deeply, and then they still bond deeply, but it's very like platonic at this point because they're both still hung up on their previous like things, you know,
like lovers.
Exactly. Back with the boys for a hot sec. Dorian is ripping into Kale for being a judgy asshole who can't accept that his friends are different. Kale and literally.
Tell him.
Kale and Adian learn that this brutal general is venturing to Wendlin with his fleet, and this is like a big
What brutal general?
There's like a general that's like,
there's just another guy.
There's another man.
Oh, okay, cool.
We haven't met him before. He's sailing to Wendlin. This is very dangerous.
No problem. Let's just keep adding characters.
Okay,
like, no problem.
Exactly. So this is where it gets juicy. Okay, we get some juice here. Are you ready? Beltane. It's Beltane. Okay, this is like a thing.
Who's Beltane?
It's a festival.
Okay.
Beltane.
And this is the first we've heard of it.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
But I think it's actually like a thing. Like you can Google like Beltane.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think it's like a solstice type vibe.
She is like SJM always like takes inspiration from real things.
Yeah, I think it's like a solstice type vibe. But anyways, it's like Cal and Mai type vibes in a way.
Got it.
So Beltane and Celaena has to keep these giant bonfires going, but she gets a little cocky with her powers and she ends up burning herself out because like the powers are not infinite, and it's actually very similar to Fourth Wing if you use your powers too much.
I was just about to say, I'm like, wow, is this literally not when she burns herself? Like,
and Rowan takes her and puts her in a bath to cool her off.
Wow. Interesting.
Cat's having revelations.
Wow.
So
it's a little too close
for comfort.
Yeah.
So anyway, she burns herself out. Rowan puts her into a bath to cool off. And this is when he sees her scars from Endovir because she was like whipped.
Right, yeah.
And he's all like, who did this to you? And
I love that.
He is enraged.
He's like, only I can whip you. No one else can.
But now you start to see that like my guy is kind of like feeling something because he's so enraged that he can't even fathom the thought of not being with her and not protecting her. So from here on out, he makes her sleep in his room in his bed.
With him?
With him.
So he sleeps in the bed with her?
Correct. They sleep in the same bed together.
Cute.
Yeah. We learn about this concept called Karanam, and these are like bonded fae who can use each other's magic. So it's a little bit of like Shadowhunter type vibes.
Is that the case between the two of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They will become Karanam.
Right.
Celaena turns 19 and Rowan gets her chocolate.
Jesus.
Great.
She's only 19.
I know. She's accomplished so much already.
Wait.
Yep. Yep.
Isn't the first book she's 16?
She's like a baby.
So it's been 3
No,
years?
it's like, no, she's like 17 in the first book. She turns 18 because I think she also has a birthday. She has her 18th birthday because I remember like Kale and them get her like a chocolate cake.
Oh,
or
right.
something.
Because she loves chocolate.
Yeah, so she.
But still 19. That's
yeah.
So
she was like 17 turning 18. Now she's 18 turning 19.
Well, she just turned 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rowan gets her chocolate. She's super excited. And she's actually making progress with training, both with Rowan and on her own. Great. Which sidebar? Abraxas and Manon finally complete the crossing. Yay. Great.
What's that again?
They had to like cross this like thing in the mountains, otherwise they weren't considered like truly bonded, and like Abraxas was having a hard time with it, and eventually they complete it, so that's exciting. Back with Celaena and Rowan are playing Scooby-Doo because all these like demi-fae are being murdered, and the smell on the bodies reminds Celaena of that like really creepy half human half monster thing that she killed. And they follow the smell and they find this cave by the sea filled with soldiers and 3 of those like monster things, and they see the general that was like sailing there. This is the general that like Dorian and them were worried about, and he has this like black collar around his neck. Okay black collar, black friendship rings, like,
ooh,
you know, keep that in mind.
Exactly.
So all these things are here to attack the demi-fae fortress, so they skedaddle back and they like prep for battle.
What's a demi-fae?
The half-fae.
Oh, okay.
Remember the half-fae that like can't live in Dornell because they're not full fae, but they can't really live with the humans
They're
either.
like ostracized.
So they're like on the borderlands.
Is she a demi-fae? Or
I think technically, but like, or maybe I don't know. Actually, I think she technically is.
Well, if you don't know, I certainly don't.
I don't know. Someone fact correct me. Like I said, I was gonna get some things wrong eventually. No one comes to help them though because Wendlin is being attacked by Otterlin in the north, And Celaena also learns that the king slaughtered all of the slaves in the mines and prisons, and Celaena is livid. So she sets fire to, like, basically everything around the fortress. Like, she's pissed. Fire. No, literally.
To the rain.
Back in Otterland for a hot sec, the king is bragging about killing the slaves. Then he slaughters this, like, orchestra for playing, like, mourning music.
Jesus. This
And-
man must be stopped.
No, exactly. And Dorian freaks out, begging Sorsha to leave for safety. He's like, please, like, everything's going to shit. Like, you gotta leave. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving. Ugh. Bad. Back with Celaena, the three creatures enter the fortress, and we find out that they're three Volg princes who made the word keys. Rowan is busy, fighting the soldiers, blah blah blah. They fight. Celaena gets sucked up by the Volg, like, darkness. It's kind of like Dementor-y, and they make her relive, like, horrible memories, like, over and over again. So it's very Dementor-esque. Rowan is stopped from saving her by his friends / the other warriors, because they're like, if you go in there, you'll be lost too. And Celaena has a terrible flashback to the night her parents were slaughtered, and how this handmaiden had sacrificed herself despite having her own daughter named Alid, so that Celaena could live and be queen. Remember that name, Alid.
I know, I think I've seen that before.
Okay. Then all these people that loved Celaena start to appear in her mind, kind of like Harry Potter, like when he's holding the wand and, like, all these people reappear. Yeah. And because, like, she feels, like, support and loved and whatever, she burns all three Volg with the help of Rowan, her Karnam.
Okay.
Okay. Kale finally, like, gets a fucking grip and is like, Dorian, I'm on your side. Like, I'm a dumb bitch, whatever. And the boys figure out that it's some sort of, like, freezing magic that has stopped the magic flow across the land. Then we get to, like, back to Celaena, and she's, like, well rested or whatever. And she, like, and she realized that the final word key is the amulet of Orinth, and that's, like, a family heirloom of hers that was taken by Erawan. So, like, the night that her parents died, Erawan found her in, like, this river thing, and he, like, took the amulet from her, this, like, family heirloom from her, because she was wearing it. Her mother put it on her before she had left.
Okay.
Wait. Yep. It's not the Eye of Elena necklace. It's
okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah. She doesn't tell Rowan this because of his oath to Maeve, because if she tells him, he'll, like, be compelled to, like, tell Maeve, and that's, like, not good. She does tell Rowan, though, everything else about her, proves that she can control her magic, and then they are, like, ready to head to Doranel, because he's like, you are worthy, like, let's do it. Also, cat's out of the bag, and everyone knows that the Volg are dead and that Celaena is alive, and the king is, like, big mad, because, like, everyone hears what happened in, like, Wendlin. Celaena squares up with Maeve, and she learns that the keys need to be put back into the gates, and at one point Maeve wanted the keys for herself and betrayed people she loved to get them. Like, she, like, killed her lover. Like, it was, like, a whole thing. And Maeve is torturing Rowan to get Celaena to spill the location of the last word key, but Celaena sets the entire city of stone on fire and shows Maeve a vision of the future where Celaena herself is queen. And Celaena exchanges the ring she found, which I think was made by, like, Maeve's lover. She exchanges the ring she found for Rowan, and Rowan binds himself to Celaena. He, like, swears a blood oath to her, which
Didn't
I think
he already do that to Maeve?
Yeah, but it breaks. Like, the blood oath to Maeve breaks, and then he swears one to Celaena, which I think is very hot. Like, your man tells you he loves you, this man swears a blood oath.
But, like, didn't he learn from the first blood oath? Maybe, like, this is not necessary. Like, maybe just be like, I'll stick with you.
Nah, man, he's doing it for the plot. He's doing it for the plot.
You know what? Go off.
During the war, okay, so now we're with the witches. There's these, like, war games to find out, like, to find out who's gonna be, like, the lead clan.
This is so interesting because, like, you're telling me this plot, but, like, the witches do seem a little bit irrelevant right now.
They do, but it comes into play.
Okay, cool.
So during the war games with the witches, Manon slightly has, like, a heart while saving the blue blood heir from death. This is Petra. This is the one other witch I really like. The Blackbeaks still win, and Manon is made wing leader.
That's an interesting word.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's made wing leader.
I've seen that before.
Her and her 13 are made, you know, they're sick. Her grandmother is pissed she saved the other witch, so she forces Manon to kill a Cochrane witch, and this really rattles Manon. She's starting to kind of have a conscience now, because it's kind of, like, known that the witches are, like, emotionless and don't really have a conscience. They just, like, kill things and, like, do things for their own, like, at their own behest kind of thing.
Okay.
Manon and the 13 are then sent to serve Parrington, like Duke Parrington, at this place called Morath, which is also in the mountains. This is a very important place. And remember, Parrington's big bad. We don't like him.
He's Mr. Weaselton.
Exactly. Back in Otterland, the king summons Kale, Dorian, Sorsha, and Aedion. He wants to know what the fuck they're up to. Aedion confesses to being the traitor. He's like, it's me. And the king has him locked up as a trap for Aelin because he's like, oh, like, she'll come for you because, like, you're her cousin. But the king knows that Sorsha was the true traitor, and she had been writing these letters to Ren, and Ren was one of the 3 guys in the beginning who's like a Terrasen citizen that kidnapped Kale with Aedion.
Okay.
So Sorsha was writing to him to like feed him information about the king's whereabouts, and Sorsha confesses, hoping to save Dorian, like she's covering for his ass and to keep a secret, and the king has her beheaded.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's like really sad.
Does Dorian see this?
Yes, he's there.
He's very upset?
Yeah, he like loves Sorsha.
Yeah.
Chaos erupts, and Kale declares that he is loyal to Dorian, and he almost gets shot, but Dorian uses his like ice magic to freeze the room, so now his magic is manifesting more, and this allows Kale to escape. The king unfortunately overpowers his son and straps one of those black collars onto him.
Ooh, so we can control him now.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Friendship necklace, but evil. Kale gets Celaena's dog. Thank goodness they saved the dog. And he gets Damaris, the sword that like Celaena had found in like the dungeons before. And then he tells Mort, the door knocker, where he's going just in case Celaena shows up. And then he meets up with Ren, and they plan to like rescue Dorian and Aedion. They're like gonna cook up a plan. Celaena sets off for Otterland without Rowan. He can't come because of the whole like no magic thing.
Well, what no magic thing?
There's no magic in Otterland. But in Wendland, there's still magic.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay. So that she can track down Erawan and start building up an army. So her whole thing is like, she's like, I'm gonna overthrow the king. Like, she's like, this will be a fun like Saturday night. Like, I'm just gonna overthrow the king. I need an army though. Then when she starts doing all that, she'll send for Rowan to come. They part ways, and she finally adopts her true identity as Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, heir to the throne of Terrasen.
Jesus, we're only halfway through.
Okay, guys. Honestly, we're doing good time, though.
That's fine, but this is a lot.
This is a lot.
Like,
it only gets more complicated. We're about
you know what? Kudos to these people, to you and everyone else who's actually read these.
We're about to meet more people.
It's crazy.
We're literally about to meet more people.
That's nuts. There's
Okay.
more characters we still haven't met.
Exactly.
Jesus.
So now we're on Queen of Shadows, okay? These books are getting chunky, guys, okay? But we're halfway there. We're doing it. Okay, so we start off with a little sneak peek into Dorian's mind, and it turns out that those collars actually make it so that the people can be controlled by Volg.
Okay.
So Dorian is being controlled by a Volg right now, and it's super unsettling because he can't take back control. Like, he has like a very little piece of himself in his mind, and like that's it. Okay. Now we're with Aelin. Girly just wants to burn the entire world to the ground. Like, that's literally it. She's like, I want to fuck shit up. Like, that's her entire MO. Okay. She confronts Erawan in his tavern, and he immediately tells her that her cousin Aedion is going to be executed in 3 days for treason, and that he will help her if she brings him a Volg. And then he sends her off to find Kale. He's like, go find me a Volg, find Kale. She meets up with Nesrin, who is Kale's guard, and Nesrin and Kale have been working together pretty closely, and I think they have like a history. I think they have like a little bit of a romantic history, if you will.
Oh, this is a girl. Got it.
And she brings Aelin to Kale, and they reunite, and I hate it, and it's super awkward, and they're just like sad but also like pissed off at each other. It's really weird. Like, they're not good vibes right now because they left off on a really like kind of bad foot. Kale reveals he knows how to bring back magic, destroy the clock towers, because if you destroy those 3 clock towers, it takes out that triangle of no magic. But he won't tell Aelin, and this pisses her the fuck off. She's like, fuck you, dude. But he does fill her in on what she missed otherwise, and that the rebels are saving people who can use magic. He's also terrified of Aelin, which I'm like, good. You should be terrified of her.
Be.
Aelin lets Erawan know that she agrees to his terms. We got a witch break, okay? The 13 are with Parrington and Caltaine, and there's a collar around Caltaine's neck now.
Who's Caltaine again?
The woman we met in the first book who was sworn to Parrington. She's the one who poisoned Aelin.
Oh, yes.
And she's
okay,
like,
yes.
you
Okay,
know.
her name reminds me of the Caltaine bars from Mean Girls.
Okay.
I just thought of that right now.
Okay. So
That's
there's
how I remember her name.
Okay. So there's a collar around Caltaine's neck. And Aelin kind of suspected that Caltaine had a bigger role to play, but she just didn't know what. So now we're seeing the bigger role.
Right, because
okay?
we haven't seen her in a while.
Exactly. The Duke wants one of the clans to breed with Volg. Okay? He wants one of the witch clans to boink with the Volg.
Interesting.
To make Volg witch babies. And Astrin, I think it's Astrin. Astrin. I'm saying Asteri because I'm...
Right.
Astrin.
It looks like Asteri.
That's Manon's second, and I believe it's also Manon's cousin. she's disgusted, but Manon knows that she has to comply, and to kind of like assert her dominance, she like demotes Astrid. She's like, you're my third now, and she promotes someone else to second. Okay. Manon meets a crippled girl, Elide.
Okay, yes, we've
Do
seen
you
her.
remember who Elide is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's the daughter of the woman who basically sacrificed herself so that Aelin could live. So Elide in her room, and she can tell something is up with the girl, so she scratches Elide and like tastes her blood.
Interesting.
And she realizes there's some witch blood in Elide.
Oh, cute.
She's like, oh, this girl's not just a human. Like, there is some witch blood in this girl. Back with Aelin. Lysandra shows up. She's a new character.
I was gonna say, you're saying shows up. I'm like, for the first time.
For the first time.
Who is this?
Okay. She's an old enemy. I think like her and Aelin had some like bad blood. I think she's also owned by some sort of, I don't know if it's like a brothel or like an entertainment house, but it's kind of like, it's giving, oh my God, who's the character in Six of Crows?
Inez.
It's giving like Inez. Like she's owned by someone else kind of thing. Lysandra. So Lysandra shows up. She's an old enemy, and she shows up with a young girl named Evangeline, and I think Evangeline is also owned by the same people. Erawan had sent Lysandra to tell Aelin the plan for rescuing Adian, okay? And Erawan really trusts Lysandra, and I think kind of like is just not the greatest to her. It's kind of like an icky relationship, okay? The two women end up bonding over what a piece of shit Erawan is, so they're clearly burying the hatchet. Chaol and Aelin fight about the rescue plan, and he wants her to make sure that Dorian is unharmed. Aelin reveals she knows what's up between him and Nesrin, and that, like, she's like, I know your history, blah, blah, blah. And then Chaol reveals that destroying the clock towers will release the magic. So now we're kind of, like, ramping up plot-wise. So the breakout plan starts, and Aelin enters the castle disguised as a dancer. Some shit goes down. Dorian tries to kill Aelin. Aelin tries to kill him to release him from the collar, but Nesrin stops her because Nesrin knows that Chaol will be like devastated if Dorian dies. They end up escaping the castle with Adian, thankfully, and we end up finding out that Dorian tried to give Aelin a sign, and now Dorian is just upset that she didn't kill him, because he's like, if she would have killed me, I would have been like released from this. Like, at least I would have been dead, and they can't use my body to like house Volg. Chaol and Aelin argue on their way back to the apartment in front of Lysandra, and he lets it slip who Aelin really is. Because at this point, she had still been pretending to be like Celaena.
Okay.
But now, Lysandra's like, oh fuck, I know who you really are. Witch break. Manon realizes that Elide doesn't know she's a witch. She also learns that the witches came to be because the Volg bred with fae. So now Parrington is trying to like do more experience. Like, what happens if a Volg would breed with a witch? So this Yellowlegs clan volunteers for the Volg breeding program, and then Astrid tells Elide that she's a witch. And when Elide tries to leave, Manon confronts her and asks if she's a witch or a human, like, whose side are you on? And Elide eventually decides to side with the witches.
Cute.
Back with Aelin, her and Adian reunite. It's very cute. Then Aelin and Chaol meet Erawan in the fighting pits, and she's made to fight a Volg commander who she, like, offs really easily. She's like, fuck you. Aelin bonds with Adian more and learns that he, like, low-key worships Rowan, like, because he obviously, like, knows who Rowan is.
Right.
He's, like, you know, dialed into the royal family. And, like, Rowan is, like, a very, like, he's, like, a good fight. Like, he's very... His reputation precedes him, if you will. But he secretly hopes that Rowan hasn't stolen his blood oath with Aelin. Like, inside, he's like, God, I hope he hasn't given a blood oath to Aelin, because, like, I want to be the first one to give a blood oath to Aelin.
Oh, so he hasn't given one to Aelin yet.
No.
But he wants to.
He wanted to be the first one.
But, like, can there be more than one?
Yes, there can be more than one, but he wanted the honor of being the first to swear himself to the Queen of Terrasin.
Got it.
Whoops! Oopsie my poopsie. Okay?
It's like, role's been taken, buddy.
Exactly. Chaol finds out that the Volg burned down the Shadow Market, and we get this, like, weird scene where Aelin sees a commander summon a word hound, and the hound speaks with the voice of the king. I don't know. It was all very confusing. A bit later, Aelin takes Adian to a bar because he's getting a little stir-crazy as he's healing inside, and they run into Rowan.
Interesting. He just shows up.
So Rowan shows up. He came here against Aelin's wishes because he knows that Lorcan, another fae...
Yeah, who are these people, man?
It's just the fae that are all sworn to Maeve.
Right, but now this character is important.
Correct.
Because I remember hearing him.
Correct.
About him. Right, okay.
So add another one to the roster.
Got it.
He's like, I came here because I know that Lorcan's here, and he was probably sent here by Maeve to find the word key, so I came here to warn you and protect you, blah, blah, blah. Rowan and Aedion are having like a pissing contest, and then Aedion throws a fit because Rowan swore a blood oath, and he was all like, I wanted to do it, so he ends up fighting out. Aelin does eventually tell him he can swear one too, duh, like calm down, like it's fine. We also find out that Rowan smells that Gavriel, remember Gavriel was another one, the guy that he was tattooing, he smells that Gavriel is Aedion's father. Because Aedion didn't know who his dad was.
Let me just, 1 sec.
Yeah.
With that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so how old is Rowan?
Old.
Give me a number.
Should I look it up? How old is Rowan Whitethorn? Over 3 centuries.
Okay, and how old is Aiden then?
How old is Aedion Ash River? 24.
Okay, so he's closer to age with Aelin.
Yes.
Okay, so then this Gavriel guy is
Probably
around the same time age as Rowan.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
All right, I understand now.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like when they all look the same age, it's like it's confusing,
yeah.
and I'm like, wait a second, that guy's his father? Okay.
Yeah. So it's
All
his dad.
Got it.
So Rowan's like, I'm gonna keep that in my mind. And Rowan takes a bath and he sleeps in Aelin's room just like they used to when they were together in the fortress. And then Kale seems a little jealous. He's like, what the fuck is going on? But like, fuck you, Kale. I'm still mad at him at this point. Witch break. Manon is getting really weirded out. She sees Kaltain use shadow fire to torture a soldier. And Parrington won't let Manon see the Yellowlegs clan that volunteer to have babies. And she finds out that her grandmother is making weapons for the king. So this is how the witches start to tie in.
Okay, so the witches right now are technically on the bad side.
Yes.
Got it.
And the grandmother, Manon's grandmother, who really is the mastermind behind it all, is like making a weapon for the king. Okay, this becomes important. Manon tells Elide to spy on the Yellowlegs clan, and Elide is like, okay, fine, I'll do it, but I need some poison. And she uses the poison to like, she kind of like makes I think it's like the launder, like the people who do the laundry, she kind of like makes them a little sick so that they need someone to fill in. So she goes to fill in, and then she ends up getting to go to the like place where the people are having like the babies or whatever. And it looks like the Yellowleg clans have already given birth and are pregnant again. And the babies are like hella creepy.
What do the babies look like?
I don't remember, to be quite honest with you. I just know they're really creepy.
Okay.
So now we're back with the gang. Another little jumpy jump. And Lorcan and Aelin meet, and she tries to kill him.
Why?
Because he's trying to kill her right now, because he's on Maeve's side.
Oh, right.
And
Right.
Maeve is bad right now. But he manages to weasel his way out of it. And then Lysandra comes to visit. And when Lysandra comes to visit, because like Rowan can like sniff everything out, he's like, she's a shapeshifter. And everyone is like, what the fuck? And it turns out she is a shapeshifter. But she got...
Aelin is a shapeshifter.
No, Lysandra.
Oh, Lysandra is a shapeshifter.
Yeah, and she got stuck this way in this body when the magic was like frozen and disappeared. So she actually doesn't know what her like true form is.
Oh, okay. Do we find out?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We find out what form she's most like comfortable in, I suppose. Lysandra tells them that Erawan is calling in his favor. So Aelin and Rowan go and catch a Volg to bring to him. Erawan and Aelin go down to the dungeon with the Volg, and they learn how the king controls the Volg, and it has to do with like the friendship ring and blood. So I think it's like they have to put on the ring and then like cut the blood, and then the king has to like lick the blood.
That's quite the process.
So like if I was trying to control you, like I'd put the friendship ring on you.
Okay.
Right? And then I'd cut your hand, and then I'd go like this. Boom.
But how does anyone just like let him do that?
Because like I guess like they're swearing fealty to him. So like,
so they're like, here, like lick my hand.
No, yeah, literally.
Interesting choice, but okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not, I guess.
So that's how the king controls them. So Erawan slices the ring off the Volg, because like the Volg is obviously wearing like a friendship ring, and kills him. Well, then they all have dinner together afterwards.
Cute.
Yeah. And he keeps like side-eyeing Aelin and Rowan because he thinks they're being like super close. He's like, what the fuck is going on here, kind of thing. Erawan is pissed off because Aelin has been like fucking like up all his investments in town and like all his like places and like contacts and whatever. She's just causing havoc. Like she just loves to do that. And she agrees to stop if he gives her the amulet that he had stolen from her when he rescued her family heirloom.
Not the other one.
Not the Eye of Elena, the amulet of Orinth.
Got it.
Okay. And he does give it to her. But as he's giving it to her and he's like hugging her or something like that, he slips the friendship ring on her finger and cuts her and licks her blood. Like, as he's like hugging her, he does it like secretly.
That is very interesting how he just manages to do that.
Okay, but he thinks he controls her, but joke's on him. Because when Aelin captured the Volg, she put a fake ring on the Volg. So the friendship ring is not real.
Interesting.
So Erawan, the only reason Erawan lets them go without fucking their shit up is because he thinks he controls Aelin now. So he's like super
Joke's
confident.
on him.
But joke's on him, it's not true. And later that night, they're on like the roof or something, like Aelin and Rowan, and she kind of like touches Rowan. And she like definitely wants to kiss him, but he tells her not to touch him like that.
Why?
Because I think he's still feeling very conflicted, because I think he does have feelings for Aelin, but he feels extremely guilty about the fact that like his mate is dead and he has these feelings for another woman.
Wait, but also side like just question.
Mhm.
Did you not notice that this ring is on her finger?
What do you mean?
Did you take this ring off? The fake black ring?
Like Aelin?
Yeah.
She takes it off after, yeah.
So after Erawan put it on her, she
noticed. She pretends.
Oh, but she took it off though.
It was all part of the plan.
Oh, okay. Oh, or is she leaving it on to like make him think?
Well, that's the thing. When she left,
Okay.
when she left his thing, she left it on.
Oh, okay, got it.
And she was all like, "Yes, Erawan." Like,
Got it,
you
got
know
it.
what I mean? She's like pretending to be like under his control.
Understood.
So yeah, and then actually that night, Lysandra kills Erawan.
Good for her.
So good riddance.
Well done.
Good fucking riddance. Because he trusts Lysandra so much when she comes to his bed to like sleep there. He doesn't even like give it a second thought, and she slits his throat in his sleep. So this was the whole plan all along, right? To get Erawan dead. So the group get notified of Erawan's death, as if they don't already know, and they all get called in to hear the reading of the will, and everything is left to Aelin because she switched the wills around. So all of Erawan's properties, his money, everything, all Aelin's now. She's a very, very rich woman. Okay?
Good for her. Well done.
And just to make sure that Erawan's like dead, she decapitates him.
Oh.
She's like,
So there is a body and there is a crime.
Yeah, she's like,
Got
I don't
it.
want to take any chances. This man is dead. Dead.
Got it.
Okay? So Erawan, done. See you later. After this, Aelin is being all cold to Rowan, and like, because she feels like slighted, that he's
Right.
like, don't touch me kind of thing. And then now he's really starting to realize that he's like down bad for her, because he's all like, oh my god, why is she being so mean to me, like blah blah blah. Like, it's the whole like she fell first but he fell harder kind of thing. Right. And I do love that trope. Okay. Aelin and her boys go into these catacombs, and they learn that the Volg were led by a head demon king guy named Erawan. And
like the grocery store?
Like the fucking grocery store. Do you know how many times? Thank you.
Gosh.
I was like, oh my god, the grocery store is evil. And it is. Have you seen the prices?
That is atrocious.
Like, absolutely atrocious. Are you joking? So Erawan is evil, confirmed by Sarah J. Maas. So anyways, they're led by this evil king named Erawan. And Gavin, that's Ghost Elena's husband, didn't actually kill Erawan. Like, Elena and Gavin supposedly like killed Erawan, but they didn't actually kill him. They just like captured him under the mountain kind of thing, and like locked him in under the mountain, aka the mountain in Morath, which is where the witches are.
Right. So instead of killing him, they're like, let's put him to sleep so that he'll be someone else's problem.
Yeah, because they couldn't really figure out how to kill him. So they were like, this is kind of like next best thing kind of thing. Ooh, there's some plot line with this that when I found this out, I was like, what the absolute fuck? It's coming up.
Oh, fantastic.
It's really good. They also find hellfire in these catacombs, and they stash it until they're ready to destroy the clock tower, because like that's the only thing that can destroy the obsidian. Nestern joins them, and they end up learning about the witches and the armies at Morath. Lorcan also pops up and says that he left Maeve, and that he wants to find the word key so that Maeve can't get to them, because he's like, honestly, she's like truly evil. Like, no, like this is bad news bears. Witch break. Manon is refusing to help the Yellow Leg witches, and like Astrid keeps telling her like, we should free them, and she's like, no, we can't disobey my grandmother. Like,
question. At this point, has this other group met Manon yet?
No.
So like, Aelin has not met Manon.
Completely separate storyline right now.
Interesting.
Okay. It's about to converge though.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So she refuses to help the Yellow Legs, because basically she's trying to keep Parrington away from her 13, away from her coven. She's like, if the Yellow Legs are like at the center of attention, like then my women won't be put to this breeding program, right? But
Okay.
Astrid is like, we should save them kind of thing. So they're at odds right now. They're fighting. They're scrapping. The girlies are fighting. Manon ends up being summoned with her 13 to the Oakwalled Forest to see her grandmother's weapon finally. Okay? So now we're back with the gang. Rowan is all tender and admits he was scared when Lorcan was threatening Aelin and he wants to be intimate. But he's like, we have to wait till we're alone. Like, the first time I'm intimate with you, like, I want us to be, like, alone and together and, like, whatever. So he's finally, like, succumbed to his feelings for her.
And is she, like, also down?
Yeah,
Okay.
she reciprocates. For sure. She was butthurt that he didn't kiss her. So she's, like, stunning. Great. Love it. Evangeline comes to visit. That's the little girl with Lysandra. So when she comes to visit, though, she tells them that Lysandra was captured by the king's guard and the king is heading to Oakwald to see his weapons. So the gang gets all together and heads to the forest. And this is where the witches are also heading. They actually, when they're at the forest, they see Dorian and Manon meet. And Dorian is able to tell Manon his name before the demon takes over again.
Oh, right, because he's still under his dad's
and
control.
it's kind of like this reoccurring theme where, like, every time Manon's around, like, Dorian is able to, like, break out of this, like, demon thing. And one of the only things he remembers is Manon's name. Okay? So Manon's grandmother is being a big bitch, and she knew about the breeding program the whole time and thinks it's a great idea, and she leaves with the king to see the weapon. The group ends up rescuing Lysandra from a prison wagon, and Kale has the bright idea to go get Dorian. So he's like, I'm just going to sneak into camp and get him. But he's intercepted by, like, the 13. They're like, what the fuck? Blah, blah, blah. Aelin and Manon fight. Rowan takes an arrow for Aelin. Aelin saves Manon and now owes her a life debt. Manon tells the king she killed them all, like when she goes to see the weapon, she's like, I killed them all, don't you worry about it.
But she's lying. Obviously.
She's lying, exactly, because she owes them a life debt. And she learns that the weapon is this big-ass battle tower with witch mirrors inside it, and the witch mirrors amplify powers, and the king wants to use it with Kaltain, because Kaltain can use, like, shadow fire.
Got it.
Okay. Elite gets captured by her uncle, and then Astrid tells Manon this terrible story. And because this whole time, like, Astrid seems, like, very nice, which is, like, weird for the witches. Like, they're usually very cold, so everyone's kind of like, what's up with this bitch? It turns out that Astrid fell in love with a human man, got pregnant, carried the baby to term, which doesn't usually happen for witches, and then the baby was stillborn. And when Manon's grandmother found out, she killed the human guy that Astrid was in love with and branded Astrid's stomach. Very similar to, like, Moore.
That's so mean.
Yeah. Manon and Astrid head to Rifthold before going back to Morath. And at this point, you don't know why, but you do find out. Back with the gang, Aelin has paid off all of Lysandra and Evangeline's debts, so they're now free. Rowan meets with Lorcan and exchanges the fake amulet, like the amulet of Orinth, because that's what he, like, wants, because he, like, thinks it's, like, it's the word key. So he exchanges the fake one for Maeve's ring, because, like, Maeve's ring is apparently, like, really important, and it can protect from, like, Volk powers or something like that. It was the original ring that Aelin had traded.
Yes, I remember that
originally.
part.
Okay. So they trade it, whatever. Aelin and Kale make peace, and then he apologizes to her, and Aelin and Rowan kiss for the first time.
Jesus, 4 books into it.
4 books
Actually,
in.
technically 5 if you count.
And we get a smooch.
And if you count Throne Assassin's Blade, this is like 5 books.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's entirely too many.
The next morning, Aelin sees a banner that says that the human inside Dorian lives, and it was the banner from Manon. That's why she had to go to Rifthold, because she wrote something down for Aelin. Adian and Rowan plant Hellfire in the catacombs and have to fight off these, like, word hounds. Aelin brings Kale to the king as, like, a prisoner and is all like, ooh, he's a traitor. I killed the Rose and Wendlin, blah, blah, blah. But the king knows who she really is and wants to know where the word key is. Aelin shows him the Eye of Elena and says that she'll destroy it if he doesn't give up Dorian. So she's, like, faking it, right? So she takes off with, like, she runs, and then Dorian runs after her, and Kale is, like, left to deal with the king. Aelin and Dorian fight, and he actually, like, stabs her. The king and Kale are fighting, and it looks like the king kills him at one point. Like, Kale is thought to be dead. We flash to Lorcan for a hot second, and he's helping Adian and Rowan, and they manage to set off the Hellfire and blow up the tower, which frees magic. So now all the magic is free. in the land.
Okay, wow.
And the witches feel it as they're on their way back to Morath. Back with the king, he tells them Chaol is dead. Dorian snaps the collar off his neck. He's finally able to like fight off the Vogue.
How does he do that himself?
I don't know, something about a ring Aelin gives him. I really didn't like read this part closely because it was a lot of like fighting, and I was like, okay.
True.
You know what I mean? He just like takes off the collar and he helps Aelin fight the king. And as the king is like really weakened, he speaks out with his own voice.
What does that mean?
Exactly. So turns out when him and Duke Parrington were young, they opened a tomb in Morath, and Erawan took over the Duke's body, and another Vogue took over the king's body. So the king, in a moment when he was able to break out of the Vogue's hold, actually created the towers to bind magic to protect everyone.
So the king is actually good.
Yeah, but he was just taken over by the Vogue.
Oh, that's so sad.
And
Poor
it's
Dorian,
really
then.
sad. So the last thing he's able to do is like help his son, and he begs to be killed. He's like, just kill me. And Dorian, in his grief, just like shatters all the glass around them, because remember the castle is like glass, and kills the king.
That's sad.
It actually was really sad. I was like, oh my god. Aelin saves the city from being showered in glass, and she wakes up with Dorian and Chaol beside her. So she frees the city, telling them that the king is dead, but Dorian will soon rule. And she basically threatens them, and she's like, I'm gonna beat your asses if you guys don't behave.
Okay.
Like, literally, she like threatens them all. She's like, listen, Dorian is in mourning right now, and he will become king, but while he's in mourning, you guys better not loot the city, and you guys better fucking behave, or I literally will burn your city to the entire ground. And she's like, peace out. So now we're at Morath. Manon rescues Elide, and then Caltaine ends up blowing Morath, like a part of Morath, up after taking this like stone thing out of her arm, and she gives it to Manon. Yeah, and she gives it to Manon, and she's like, you have to get this to Aelin. So Caltaine ends up like sacrificing herself essentially, but stupid ass Parrington survives because he has like fucking Erawan, the grocery store, inside him. The 13 leave, and Manon like leaves with them, and Elide leaves with them, and she tells Elide to travel north to find Aelin, and she gives her the stone.
Whatever the stone is.
Whatever the stone is.
We don't know what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Chaol is paralyzed. Dorian, because like, remember we thought he was dead?
But he's actually paralyzed.
Like,
temporarily, though.
Yes. So he's paralyzed, and Dorian makes him hand to the king, and he makes Nesrin captain of the guard. Nesrin and Chaol decide to go to the southern continent, which I think is where she's from, to see if Chaol can be healed from his paralysis. Lysandra receives land from Aelin. Then Aelin, Rowan, Aedion, and Lysandra finally travel and set foot on Terrasen soil. Okay?
And that's how that ends.
And that's how that ends.
Okay.
What's up?
Who does Chaol end up with again?
Not Nesrin.
Oh, doesn't he end up with Lysandra?
No.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, wait. Lysandra is with Lorcan.
Nope.
Lorcan's with Elide.
Yes.
Aiden's with Lysandra.
Yes.
Chaol is with someone we haven't met yet?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yrene.
What?
Yrene
There's
Towers.
someone else?
Yeah.
Wait, who ends up with... Wait. Elide, Lorcan, Lysandra, Aiden, Aelin, Rowan, Man, and Dorian.
Yeah.
Oh, does that cover everyone?
Yeah.
And then Chaol's just with the new character.
Yes. So everyone couples up.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're at the second last book.
Empire of Storms.
Yes. Well, technically it's the third last book.
Well, everyone likes to talk about how you like tandem read Empire of Storms with... What's the other one called? Tower of Dawn?
I'm going to be so fucking for real with you, besties. I didn't read Tower of Dawn.
That's okay.
I really didn't. So let's do Empire of Storms, and I'll give you my little quick spiel on Tower of Dawn, but I didn't read it. I'm going to be so honest. Okay. Empire of Storms. Also, I'm pretty sure that if I was like really thinking about this, Queen of Shadows is probably my favorite book in the series. It was really good. Okay. Empire of Storms.
This is crazy. This is quite the ride.
It gets even worse. There's still stuff to be revealed.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Well, because I mean, like, it seemed like things kind of resolved for like a hot minute there.
Not resolved at all.
Okay, cool.
Not resolved at all.
Got it.
So we start off with...
Shame on me for thinking that, you know?
Shame on you. How dare you think that we're done?
Okay, keep going.
So we start off with an Elena and Gavin flashback, okay? That's how the book starts off. I'm not going to tell you anything else about it. We'll get into it later.
Wait, those are her parents, are Aelin's parents?
Those are... No. Those are Aelin's, like Elena is Aelin's ancestor.
Okay, but you don't know how far back.
Right.
Okay,
so the line goes... I guess I'll just give you like a little bit of a spoiler. So there's this goddess named Mala Firebringer.
Okay.
And Mala Firebringer has a relative, like a descendant named Brannon. And Brannon is Elena's father.
Okay.
And then Elena and Gavin are married.
Okay.
And Elena and Gavin are the one that put Morath.
Okay, under the mountain.
That put Erawan under the mountain in Morath.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So technically, Elena, Brannon, and Mala Firebringer are all Aelin's line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I had to draw it in my head, but I got it.
Through her father's side. So through
Right.
her father's side is
Who's the
that
mother
line.
then? No one important?
The mother is an Ash River.
What's that?
Adian Ash River. It's just another family.
Oh, but like nothing of importance.
Like she has like water magic. Like she
Okay,
has like
but
a
nothing
drop
like-
of no.
Okay, got it.
Like she has a drop of water magic
Right,
because
right,
of
right.
her mother kind of thing.
Got it.
Okay. So after all this, Elite is trying to find Aelin, but Girly is like struggling. Like she's literally like fucking off in the woods, like God knows doing what. Like she's just like, I know I have to find this woman. Lorcan is following her at this point, and he's just watching
Wait, who's
her.
Aelin trying to find?
Elite?
No, Elite's trying to find Aelin.
Correct.
But what is she doing at this point? Like
Elite?
No,
Aelin?
Aelin.
Oh, I'm about to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
They just got into Terrasen. Remember?
Right.
From
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last book, they're all in
Yeah, yeah,
Terrasen.
yeah.
So I'll tell you
Yeah.
what they're up to now.
Okay.
So anyway, so Lorcan is watching her. He just decides to like observe at this point. He's like, I'm not going to do anything yet. Lysandra, Rowan, Aelin, and Adian meet with the Terrasen lords. Because presumably Aelin is the queen of Terrasen, so like she has to take over, right?
Wait, I have a question actually.
Go ahead.
Is Aelin full Fae at this point, or is she just
Not
like
yet.
switching back between Fae and
She
non-Fae?
like switches kind
Okay.
of, I
So she'll
believe.
switch from like pointy ears to no pointy ears.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, got it.
If I remember correctly.
Okay.
So they meet with the Terrasen lords, but the lords don't give one fuck about Aelin. And they're
Right.
like, we don't recognize you as queen. Like, I don't give a shit who you say you are.
Rude.
Like, I literally don't care.
They're like, "Where's your proof?"
No, literally, they basically belittle her and they're like, oh, maybe you can gain allies and stuff through marriage. Like, they're literally the fucking worst, okay?
Mhm.
But she has to play their game. Because she needs support. Essentially, this whole book is about getting support. Like, she
Okay.
needs army, she needs money, she needs people to fight off Erawan.
Right.
Okay? She doesn't have any of
The
that right
grocery
now.
store.
Exactly. They have to defeat Erawan, the grocery store, and his astronomical prices.
Got it.
Yeah, so they belittle her. The gang gets word that the Iron Teeth witches are going to attack Rifthold. So Rowan is the only one who can make it there fast enough because he has like a hawk form. I don't know if we talked about that. He turns into a bird.
I mean, I knew this, but like, does it happen often in the book?
Yeah, it happens quite a bit. I just like didn't really bring it up, but
'Cause
anyway.
doesn't really seem that important.
Yeah, and
Like,
and
I mean, like of all the animals to
Hawk's-
shift in.
Hawk's pretty cool.
Yeah, but they're small.
Yeah, but he's like quick. He's
Like, I feel
Yeah.
like an eagle would have been. Have you seen an eagle? Have you seen how big
yeah,
a bald eagle is?
yeah,
Those
they're
things are
fucking
massive.
massive.
I feel like that would have been cooler.
Yeah, but he's a hawk.
Like a hawk. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hawks are cool, but
Yeah.
they're teeny.
I think he likes
relation.
that. I don't know. He's a big hulking man. He's a tiny little bird. You know, best of both worlds.
Like, I feel like that's a very interesting, like,
thing.
a thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Ironic. A little
Maybe it's
bit.
because it's more unassuming. He can like
Yeah,
stay under the
maybe.
radar more, you know? So anyways, he's the only one that can get to Rifthold in time, so he leaves in his hawk form to rescue Dorian, and then the plan is to go to Skull's Bay, which is where they're all going to meet up again. Okay?
Cool.
So we get to see that Erawan has basically taken over the Duke's body, and like the Duke doesn't look like the Duke anymore. Like it's just Erawan now.
So the big bad right now is just the Duke.
The Duke, Erawan.
Right.
Erawan is really the big
king
bag.
the king is gone.
The king is gone, so
Okay.
the second Volg in command is dead. The
So it's just the big bad right now is just Erawan.
the big
and
bad
the
right
Duke's
as of
body.
right now.
Oh. Wait, there's someone else?
I can't wait.
Jesus, there's only 2 books left.
Okay, so Erawan is the big bad right now. He's entirely taken over the Duke's body, okay?
Got it.
Great. He gives the order for Manon and the witches to like attack Rifthold. Dorian sees his city being destroyed by the witches, and he's like fucking some of them up with his ice powers, but they start to overtake his tower, and Manon actually rescues him, and she rescues him by killing a Yellow Legs witch so that Dorian can escape with Rowan, who kills another 4 witches, but I'm pretty sure that Iskra sees her do this. Remember Iskra, the big
one
bitch
you
in the
don't like,
beginning?
right.
Okay, so she's like big mad at this, right?
Got it.
Okay, so keep that in mind. So Rowan and Dorian leave, and Manon is probably going to get in like really big shit for this. Actually, not probably, she is. Lorcan and Elide finally make contact because they have to outrun some monsters together. They basically agreed to like trade info, but like Elide has the word key that like Lorcan wants, so that's why he's like really there, because he's like trying to find the word keys, right?
Got it.
Back with the witches, okay? Manon is put on trial and found guilty for what she pulled in Rifthold. And basically, as punishment, it's kind of like an eye for an eye, because the Yellowlegs witch that died was Iskra's second.
Okay.
So in retaliation, Astrid is sentenced to death for the killing of the Yellowleg Sentinel.
Does she actually die?
Let's find out.
Oh, okay. Great. So she does.
Adie and Lysandra and Aelin arrive at this place called Ilium, and that it has a temple to Brannon. Remember I said Brannon is a descendant of Mala Firebringer, and basically like one of Aelin's relatives or whatever.
Yep.
So it's a temple to Brannon, and they end up getting someone to grant them passage on like a ship, because like again they're trying to amass all these armies, and they end up fighting a bunch of soldiers at the temple. And Aelin learns from Brannon's spirit that she has to find really listen to this part, because when I was like reading this I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Okay, let me just like put my ears on for a sec.
Okay, put your
like,
ears on. Put your ears on. Okay,
go ahead.
Okay. So oh my god, I accidentally scrolled so far up, guys. Oh, here we go.
She got distracted by me putting my ears on.
I did, and then I like pressed a button on my computer. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Okay, I'm waiting.
So Aelin learns from Brannon's spirit because that she has to find the lock in the stone marshes to put the word keys back into the gate. Because the whole thing is they have to take the word keys and they have to put them back in the gates to close off the gates, but they don't know how to do that.
Why are we closing the gates?
To get rid of the Volg.
Which are from somewhere else.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay. So the key ends up, it's really a lock.
Right.
The lock is what's going to help them put the word keys back into the gates. Okay, this is very important, this whole lock business. They end up fighting more people, and one of the soldiers is speaking in Erawan's voice, and he's like, I know where Rowan and Dorian are, blah, blah, blah. So Aelin starts to burn him inside out, and he tries to, like, hit her, and thankfully he misses hitting her, like, Amulet of Orinth, which is actually, like, the word key. And because if they're like, oh my god, if he had touched it, maybe he would have known that like that's basically like the one piece he's missing to like rule the world essentially. So thank god he didn't hit her.
Wait, is this the Orinth one?
The Orinth one.
What's the importance of the other amulet then?
You will find out.
Oh, okay, cool, got it.
Well, keep that one in mind.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Back with the witches, Astrid is badly beaten. Okay, and Manon's grandmother is gonna let more people beat her before she's executed. But Manon is like, I claim the right of execution, because she's like Astrid's like head. So she's like, I claim the right of execution, because she's like, I'm gonna give her a quick death. Like she doesn't deserve to be like tortured and beaten. Right. And just as they think she's gonna kill Astrid, Manon actually swings at her grandmother.
Oh, so a la Hunger Games.
Exactly. And then the 13 run while Manon and her grandmother fight, and in her rage, the grandmother actually ends up telling Manon that her father, Manon's father, was a Cochrane prince. So you know how the Iron Teeth and the Cochrane are like enemies? Mm-hmm. Manon is half and half.
Oh.
So this ends up being important, right? She wounds Manon really badly, and Manon ends up falling off a cliff, but Abraxas catches her, and they do end up escaping.
Is Abraxas rideable?
Yes.
So he's not like that small?
No.
Okay, got it.
The Wyverns are quite big.
Okay.
He's not that small. He is smaller than the other Wyverns, but he's very quick, though. He's very cunning. He's
large enough to be ridden.
And I think his big thing is, like, he's very intelligent.
Got it.
He, like, gets them out of a lot of situations because he's really smart. Great. So they escape. Stunning. We're with Lorcan. He still hasn't told Elide that Celaena and Aelin are the same person, because she keeps talking about them like they're separate people, but, like, he's like, I'm just going to keep that one to myself. They join up with this theater group to travel, to basically like stay safe, because they're trying to find out where like Celaena is,
right,
or Celaena is, and they don't really have any direct way to contact them, so they're just trying to get like rumors from like taverns and kind of like travel. Great. Rowan and Dorian are at Skull's Bay because like they escaped, and that's where they're supposed to meet, and they're in Skull's Bay training. Like Rowan is like helping Dorian like master his magic,
but Aelin's not with them.
Not yet.
Got it.
And they meet up with this captain, and this captain has like map tattoos on his skin that like change. It's like really cool. And they asked the captain to join their forces. That's why they all went to Skull Bay against Erawan. But he instead of being like, yeah, he's like, come out. And these two fae come out, And the fae end up being Gavriel. This is Adian's dad and the guy that Rowan was tattooing. And Fenris. This is a new guy.
Oh, I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, Fenris.
Yes.
So he's also part of that whole Maeve blood sworn fae.
But isn't it Fenris?
Sure, Fenris.
Isn't he related to Aelin also?
I think so. I might have missed that part. I'm going to be so for real with you.
Who does he end up with?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Oh, okay, cool.
Who does?
Oh, you don't actually know.
I don't think so. Fenris Moonbeam. That's a wild name.
Because I remember this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always remember seeing the fan art of this one.
Who? Oh, yeah, he's cute. He's called the White Wolf of Dornell. Is he like a Fenris? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he has like a...
He doesn't have a love interest. Maybe he's introduced too late to have love interest.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? All the women are like scooped up.
Yeah, there's no
relationships.
There's no one left for you, babe.
Gabriella. No, yeah, it doesn't look like he has like a whole ass like relationship.
He looks hot.
He does look really hot. Okay, great. So obviously the Fae, like both of them, Gavriel and Fenris, are still both sworn to Maeve, and they want to know where Aelin is. And they've also been sent to kill Lorcan because Lorcan's kind of like defected from like the blood oath thingy. And they also share that Maeve is on her way with her forces to Eelway. So this is like another kingdom. So they're like, oh yeah, Maeve's going to fuck Eelway up.
Okay.
Like, she's going to start fucking shit up all over the continent kind of thing. Rowan is all like, boys, let's fight in this sick battle together. We're definitely going to run into Lorcan when we meet up with Aelin. Like, also, congrats, Gavriel. You're a dad. Don't tell Maeve. Like, he's literally just trying to, like, toss anything at them so that they'll, like, be on his side.
But don't they know that, like, Rowan, like, defected from Maeve?
Yeah.
But
well, because, yeah.
But they're, like, okay with him. But they're not trying to kill him.
Yeah, because technically they've been, like, friends for a very, very long time. Like, they served together, right? So this actually, like, piques the Fae's interest, right? They're like, let's think about it. Thankfully, Aelin and Adian and Lysandra are on their way to Skulls Bay with Lysandra in her birdie form. She's, like, on the top of the ship in her birdie form. Because now she can, like... Also, I think her favorite form is, like, a leopard. Is, like, her preferred.
Got it.
If that makes sense. Quick Manon break. She's injured and in a forest with only Abraxas. And there's this word hound, and Manon kills it. But it already sent word to Erawan. Because I think they can, like discuss mind to mind, basically. Mm-hmm. Aelin and her gang finally make it to Skulls Bay, and they have to work on convincing that captain to join their cause. Back with Lorcan, him and Elite are traveling and pretending to be husband and wife. So we get, like, fake husband-wife vibes, and I love that shit. They end up having to share a room, and she takes a bath while he washes her clothes, and he tells her that Aelin is with Celaena.
Instead of being the same person.
And she tells him about her shitty uncle that imprisoned her and about the breeding program, and Lorcan is all like, do you want me to kill him? Like,
because I will.
Immediately, he's like,
just tell me.
Immediately, he's like, I'll kill him. And she's like, for what cost? And he's like, for nothing. I'll just do it for you.
For funsies.
For funsies. Like, he's so down bad. He's like, I'll kill him. Don't worry about it. She also basically tells him that the explosion at Morath was on purpose, but she doesn't tell him, like, the other details about it. They're still keeping secrets from each other. Back with the gang, Aelin and Rowan are trying to work on the two Fae, but everyone is very, like, suspect of each other. Adian and Gavriel have a really heated father-son meeting, and
do they know that they're...
Well, now they do. And it, like, all goes to shit. So Lysandra takes Adian to, like, cool off, basically. Aelin and Rowan talk to the captain again, and he lets them know about, like, that Morath, like, knows they're all here, and that everyone is sailing to Eelway. Like, Morath, Maeve, like, they're all going there. And Aelin is like, you gotta fight with us, dude. I'll make you a lord, da-da-da-da-da. But then as they're negotiating, this alarm starts to sound, and then it turns out that the Volg are coming to where they are, and they brought sea weaverns, like sea dragons, with them. Okay, so the entire group has to fight. Aelin only agrees to help if the captain joins their cause.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yes.
Now I'm confused. What's the difference between Morath and Erawan?
Morath is where Erawan is.
I thought Erawan was in the Duke guy.
That's the body. Morath is a place. Morath is a mountain. It's a place.
Right, so the Duke is in the mountain?
The Duke is in the place, Morath. That's where the witches were. It's just a place.
Okay, but the Duke is still there.
Well, not anymore. They're sailing. to Eelway. So basically at this point...
So Morath, so the Duke, who's Erawan, is no longer in Morath?
No.
Okay, so Morath is kind of irrelevant if the Duke's not there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Morath is just like a place.
Okay,
Essentially now
who is Morath?
Essentially now what's happening in the book is that like basically all the armies are starting to be mobilized.
Okay, so we're coming up to the final battle
We're really
scene.
coming up to the big bad
Okay,
final
yeah.
battle scene, okay?
Got it.
So the entire group has to fight.
And
Aelin...
Kale's not in this book at all.
No, he's busy.
Right.
He's doing Tower of Dawn shit.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So anyways, they all end up fighting, blah, blah, blah. They end up winning. And Lysandra turns into a sea dragon. It's really cool.
Oh, cool.
I actually love Lysandra. Okay. Yeah, so she turns into a sea dragon. And Aelin ends up channeling... So she ends up channeling really deep inside her. And she ends... And her body gets taken over by the goddess Diana. And I don't know if you remember in the very first fucking book, Aelin gets blessed by Diana in like a ceremony. And they give her that like golden arrow.
No.
Okay, well, in the first book, that happens. So Aelin ends up getting possessed by Diana. And since the Diana is Mala Firebringer's sister, she takes some of Mala Firebringer's powers, gives them to Aelin, and Aelin literally burns everything to a crisp. I know that was like really kind of hard to follow. It was hard for me to follow too.
Interesting.
Right.
You know what? It's really hard for me to follow like these kind of fight scenes. Like,
oh, yeah. Well, it's actually funny when you see my summary for the last book. It's literally like so bare bones because like half of it was like a fight. So I was just like, oh, they fought, this person won.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Aelin burns everything to a crisp as she's being taken over by Diana, who's channeling her sister Mala. Okay. They end up like winning the battle, blah, 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 blah. Aedion has to save Lysandra at one point, and then he basically like proposes marriage to her. He's like, after all this, I'm gonna marry you.
And she's like, down?
Yeah.
Cute.
They look like each other. Later, Aelin heads off to the beach to like calm. She's like, I just need some time away. Like I go to the beach and Rowan follows her and they have sex for the first time.
On the beach?
I know. I was like, sand everywhere. Like it's not as romantic.
In crevices?
That's what I'm saying.
That you don't want sand in.
Beach sex cannot be as good as people are making out to seem.
No.
No. You get sand up in your vag. Like it's not cute.
Yeah.
That's just like a yeast infection.
That's got a grade too. Like
I know.
It's like coarse, you know?
Not cute.
Like sandpaper.
Exactly. Ghost Celaena appears and is all like
after
the sex.
Great.
Sex has been done. So she appears to Aelin and she's like, you have to go to the marsh for the lock. Also, my mom was Mala Firebringer.
Cute.
Okay.
It's all coming together.
So you start to realize how everyone's connected. So the group is like, great, let's go. And as they're on the ship sailing to these marshes, they see Manon riding towards them on Abraxas, and she falls into the water because she's gravely injured. Okay. Elide and Lorcan are still on their little side quest, and these demons come looking for Elide, and Lorcan is like, I don't know, she's not here, dude. Also, they definitely have the hots for each other. Eventually, they get onto a boat to escape, and they decide to head to like Eelway because of some of the info that they got in one of the taverns. So they are going to converge with the main group now. Lorcan also realizes that the amulet Aelin gave him is fake, and he's pissed. He's fucking pissed the fuck off. Manon.
Wait.
Yep.
But why did she give Lorcan a fake amulet?
Because the amulet has the word key in it. So she had to give him a fake one to appease him.
But I thought he was on their side.
He is on their side, but his whole side quest is he wants to find the word keys to, like, keep them from Maeve. So he's not really on their side, but he, like, kind of is, I guess.
Got it.
Okay.
This is a lot.
Manon wakes up on the ship. She's in chains, and Aelin is healing her. And
why is she in chains?
Because, like, they don't really trust her.
Oh, okay.
Because last time they all met, they fought, right?
Right. But
so,
kind of.
Yeah, and as of right now, the witches are kind of branded as being, like, bad guys because they're on Erawan's side, largely.
Right.
So they're warning Manon not to cause shit, and then later that night Dorian visits her like in her like little cell or whatever, and they have the hots for each other, and she's all like, unchain me, and Dorian convinces the group to unchain her and like let her roam around because he's like, no, like I trust her, like she's not gonna pull any shit. And then it turns out that one of the ship members is like a demon like imposter thingy, so he's like working with Erawan, and he ends up letting it slip. Like, as, like, he's trying to, like, fuck some shit up, he ends up letting it slip that Manon is actually the last Cochrane queen. Like, through her bloodline.
Right, because her father was the prince.
Exactly. And then Dorian kills him. She's like, you're dead. Manon is so mad and, like, doesn't know what to do with herself. And they all like, this gets interrupted, basically, because, like, all these, like, demons are, like, sailing on ships to like attack their ships. And one of the demons reveals that Erawan knows that Aelin has a word key. So they have to like win a fight again. And like, I don't know, one of the goddesses possesses Aelin's body again.
Why is everyone possessing Aelin's body?
I don't know. And then like, so anyways, the goddess says this like through Aelin's body. Like she tells it to like, I think Rowan, who's there. And she goes, every key has a lock, and that all the allies in the world shall make no difference if she does not wield the lock, if she does not put those keys back with it. Tell her flame and iron together bound, merge into silver to learn what must be found. A mere step is all it shall take.
A little rhyme, if you will.
A little rhyme, a little riddle, okay? Because we can't just say, hey, she should do this. We have to speak in rhyme, obviously. So everyone is just like healing after this battle. They're just like, okay, like we got to take a little break. At some point, Aelin asks Manon if witches can see the future. Because mind you, the cogs are starting to turn now. Aelin's starting to put some pieces together. So she's like, hey, Manon, can witches, see the future? And Manon is like, yeah, some can. And they act as oracles. And then this is when Aelin remembers the thing that Baba Yellow like said to her, something about like nameless is my price. And she's just now realizing what it means. And she's so shocked that she actually runs off, locks herself in the bathroom, and starts vomiting.
Why?
You will find out.
Is it that shocking?
It is. Rowan is like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on? And when he goes to check on her, she actually asks to speak to Lysandra.
She's like, I don't want to tell you.
Exactly. Quick Lorcan break. He ends up saving a lead from her shitty uncle, and they kiss on their way to the marshes.
Cute.
Yay. The gang makes it to Eelway, which is actually burning, and they try to put out the fires. Oh, hi, girlfriend. Come. Here. Pepper got a haircut. So they try and put out the fires. And apparently Rowan had thought that Aelin was pregnant.
And that's why she was vomiting?
And that's why she was vomiting. But he's like,
that's fair.
I guess, but didn't they just have sex like a day ago? Like, does
True.
he not know how this works? Like, he got someone else pregnant. Like, he can't be that dumb.
But maybe
like face sperm is different.
Differently.
Yeah, it's like an Edward Bella situation. Yeah, like
they immediately start having morning sickness instead of like 6 weeks in,
True. So anyways, she confirms that she's not pregnant, and he's like, phew, okay, that would be really bad timing. Manon notices the Eye of Elena necklace and tells Elena about the Cochrane Wars and all this stuff. Like, she's starting to tell her about the witch lore, okay? So it's all like building up to like a big reveal here, okay? Everyone is like, wow, that's crazy. And then Manon, and everyone is thinking like, clearly Manon and Aelin were like brought together for a reason.
Right.
Like, there's something going on here kind of thing. They make it to the marshes. Aelin fucks everyone up at the marshes with her powers. And basically everyone is reunited. The entire cast of characters is together finally.
Yay.
Okay. Aelin opens a chest in the marshes.
Wait, is Kale here now too?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's still Tower of Dawning.
Got it.
When she opens up the chest, expecting to find like the lock, there is no lock. Only this mirror with the Eye of Elena symbol on it. And Manon tells her about witch mirrors, that witch mirrors can be used to like amplify powers, like all this stuff, whatever. So these ships end up coming into the marshes to help Aelin. Everyone is like coupling off. Rowan goes to each of Maeve's ships, like, because Maeve's ships are like also docked there, and he goes in his like birdie form to talk to like all his friends and like cousins on the various ships. And is kind of like, hey, like, you should turn against Maeve and like help us, whatever. Back with the gang, Dorian, Manon, and Aelin go to see the mirror. And Dorian suggests that Aelin and Manon can join forces to see the future using the mirror, aka Iron and Flame.
Okay.
Aelin is the flame. Manon is the iron, because she's an Iron Teeth witch. So they hold hands and they press into the mirror and they poof away.
Where'd they go?
Okay, now we get to find out backstory. All right, here we go.
Where'd they go?
Basically, Manon and Aelin go back to the past.
Oh.
And learn that Brannon, when the whole Volg thing was happening, made a pact with the gods that he was to use the Eye of Elena, which is actually the lock.
Okay.
So there is no separate lock. The lock is the Eye of Elena. To send the gods back to their world, because the gods got stuck here. They want to go back, but they need the gates.
Interesting.
Okay. And in exchange, the gods are like, hey, send us back to our world. And in exchange, we'll take Erawan with us. Okay. Great. So that was what the lock was supposed to be used for. The lock is kind of like a one-time thing, mind you, in a way. Elena, Brandon's daughter, didn't know this. All she knows is the threat of Erawan in the Vogue. So she steals the Eye of Elena from her father, the Lock, and uses it to bind Erawan under the mountain. And the gods are pissed off because now they can't use the magic that was originally in the Lock to send themselves back to their world. So they make her a new deal that Elena can basically not rest in death. She has to wait around, and that one day she will lead someone from Mala's bloodline to the Lock so they can use their entire life force to use it for its intended purpose. Basically, Aelin has to die.
You wrote basically Aelin or Dorian has to die.
Well, because Dorian also has Mala's like blood in him. And,
he does?
Like, from the royal line or something like that. But obviously, like, it's not going to be him kind of thing.
Right.
So essentially, Aelin has to die. They see the aftermath that Brandon is pissed off and he forges the 3 word keys and hides them. Ghost Elena ends up appearing and is like, girl, I'm so sorry.
like I've been sent this
like
whole entire time.
Basically, like, Elena fucked up.
So Elena is Dumbledore.
Yeah, she like fucked up really hard.
But like she's been
and she's been
this whole time.
Yes, exactly. And then this is actually when Aelin realizes that Elena saved her as a child. Like the only reason she didn't die in that river because Elena saved her as a child only to have her die later on.
Literally Dumbledore.
Yep. And in saving her that one time, apparently, she actually saved her by forfeiting her afterlife with her own husband and children.
Oh, that's sad.
So Elena will never get to rest, ever. The battle is raging on, and Manon and Aelin pop back into the real world, but they actually pop back into where Maeve is, which is, like, really bad luck. And then Maeve is, like, there, and she's threatening to kill a lead. Like, she has a lead, like, knife to her throat kind of thing. Aelin explodes with power. A lead gets rescued, but then Aelin is, like, spent. Like, she's, like, like, her stores of magic are, like, depleted. Okay? So Maeve turns to Manon and is like, Manon, you can leave right now if you stay out of the fight. And Manon agrees.
Rude.
Okay.
She's gonna leave her there?
Well, hold on. Maeve explains how she orchestrated things, seeing that in the future, seeing that in the future, Aelin would find the keys and that her true mate was Rowan. So Maeve knew this entire time that Rowan was really her mate, but she made it so that Rowan believed his first wife was his mate, only to kill her to start off the chain of events that would have him cross paths with Aelin when Aelin was of age.
So she's the real orchestrator of everything here, Maeve.
She's another big bad.
She's another big bad.
It's not just
But
Erawan.
how is she? But she's a different big bad than Erawan.
Yes.
She's not like related.
Well.
Or are they kind of on the same team?
Well.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to tell you.
Okay, got it.
You'll see.
Fantastic.
So Aelin's actually known for a while that her and Rowan are mates. She's felt it.
Okay.
But it was one of those situations, and like Sarah J. Maas kind of alluded to it in Akasif too, that like they were too broken to realize the mating bond.
Right.
So they only realized it like after they had done some healing. So Aelin actually knows that they're mates. Aelin surrenders to Maeve to protect her friends and like the entire world basically. So they put Aelin in chains. They put her into a metal box, in an iron box so she can't use her magic, and they put an iron mask on her.
Yikes.
Okay?
It's very like Man in the Iron Mask.
It's really bad. It's honestly like terrible. And Maeve thinks that Aelin has the word keys on her. But it turns out that when Manon was leaving, Aelin slipped the word keys to Manon. So Manon didn't leave because like she hates Aelin. She left because like she had the word keys and she had to get them to safety. So she gets the word keys to Manon, and Manon is like, see ya, gotta get these and Elite away from Maeve. So she dips. Rowan is pissed off and he's all like, where's my wife? Because
my wife?
They had gotten married in secret 2 days ago.
Aw, cute. Why can't we have like a real wedding though?
I don't
like,
know.
All the secret weddings. Give me a real one.
Give me a real wedding. I don't know why Ashley-Ann refuses to write a real wedding. Like
who cares? I'll take the cheese.
I don't
care if it's cheesy.
I actually
like,
just
whatever.
need an anthology book of every single wedding that takes place in every single one of her series.
Let us be happy.
Like, let us be happy, okay? So Lysandra knew of Aelin's sacrifice since the day on the boat. Because remember when like Aelin was starting to put together all the puzzle pieces?
Right.
Aelin actually realized she had to die on the boat.
Okay.
So she called Lysandra over, okay? And Aelin is basically like, Lysandra, I want you to shift into me, pretend to be married to Rowan, and father children with Aedion so that you can all pass as a royal family while I'm gone. Pepper, come. Come. Come on. You want to come? Come on. Okay, good girl.
Wait, you're going to have to give that to me one more time.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Okay. So on the boat,
Yeah.
Aelin realized that she was going to die, that she had to die for the lock. Yes. So she doesn't want to die and like leave everyone in the lurch, and she thinks that the best thing to do is to have Lysandra shift into her.
So she looks like Aelin.
So Lysandra will look like Aelin, pretend to be married to Rowan.
But will Rowan know that it's not Aelin?
Yeah, but Lysandra was only supposed to tell him after.
Okay.
And that she will have children, but she's not. Aiden. But with Aiden, so that technically they maintain the image of like a royal family.
Got it.
Okay. So and they could still pass as the royal family, so they could still amass allies,
right,
to defeat everything.
Right.
So Elide and Manon and the 13 go to rally the Cochrane armies to fight for Aelin. All of a sudden, all these boats and people are showing up from Aelin calling in all her favors. So this entire time, like, all these people have actually decided to help her. So everyone starts to show up, kind of like Avengers Endgame like style. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. Okay. Lysandra is greeting all of these people as Aelin.
Okay.
So she's like, thanks for coming, blah, blah, blah. Rowan goes north with Gavriel, Lorcan, and Elide to rescue Aelin. Aedion and Lysandra as Aelin, stay with armies, and Dorian is going to go to the witches with, like, Manon and the 13 to convince the Cochranes to fight, and then everyone is going to meet in Terrasen, and that is how this book ends.
Wow.
So this book ends with Aelin, like, in an iron box, like, really down bad.
Wow.
Okay. So the next book is The Tower of Dawn, and I'm so sorry I didn't read this one. It's basically just a book about Kale, like, going through therapy and, like, basically becoming a fully actualized person. I think he falls in love. And I think he falls in love with Yrene. I wrote, like, Nestor in here, but I think I accidentally wrote the wrong name. I think it is Yrene that he falls. Yrene Towers.
Is that who he ends up with?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, but, like, does he heal, like, physically as well?
Yes. He's a way better person after this book, apparently. Apparently this book is very good if you, like Kale and want to read about his, like, personal journey. Apparently this book is good. I did not read it. I'm going to be so for real. I skipped it. Maybe I'll read the summary at one point. But, okay. Next is Kingdom of Ash. This is the last book. This is the biggest book. It is the most plot-heavy book. It is somehow also my shortest summary because I'm going to be so honest with you. It's just a lot of fighting. And I summarized a lot of the fights as in they fight, this person wins.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's going to be real short, okay? I'm just going to wrap it all up for you guys. Aelin.
Give it to us quick here.
I'm going to give it to you we're going to be done in like 10 minutes. Not even. Okay. Aelin has been trapped and tortured for 2 months at this point.
It's been 2 months?
Exactly. It's devastating, okay? Everyone is still looking for her. Manon and the gang end up finding the Cochrane witches, but the Cochranes, like, don't respect Manon as a leader. They're like, fuck you, like, we don't have to listen to you, like, you're not my mom kind of thing. They do head to Eelway, though, without Manon, like, recognizing Manon as a leader. Right. But they don't really make it in time to save a lot of people, but, like, still, that's nice. Ghost Kaltane, a lot of ghosts in this book, tells Dorian that the third key is still at Morath. Morath is the place.
Right.
Okay? The Iron Teeth witches end up attacking the Cochranes. The Iron Teeth are, like, her grandmother. And Manon actually fucks up the Iron Witches. The Iron Teeth witches. Eventually,
isn't she an Iron Teeth witch?
She is, but she's half Cochrane, and she finally realizes that the Iron Teeth witches are, like, not it. That her grandmother and, like, all of these Iron Teeth witches are, like, corrupt. And how could they ever follow Erawan and let their people be, like, breeded like dogs? Like, so she's like, no, fuck you. Like, why did we do this to the Cochrane witches? They were ruling peacefully, whatever. So she actually joins with the Cochrane witches, and she fucks up the Iron Teeth witches, fucks up her grandma. Great. And then this is what causes Manon to be crowned Queen of the Witches. The Cochranes are like, we recognize you as our queen now. Dorian leaves. Mind you, Dorian wants to leave with the word keys and go to Morath to find the last one. But Manon doesn't want him to. So they actually, like, sleep together. And, like, it's very, very sweet. And then he, like, sneaks out in the morning with the 2 word keys. And Manon's pissed, but she's like, I gotta go. So Manon and the Cochrane witches go and answer the call to Terrasen.
Wait, so they have sex?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they sleep together.
Oh.
I think so.
I didn't know that.
I just spoke a while ago.
I thought there was like no other sex scenes other than that one.
Oh, maybe they just like sleep together. I don't know. It's like implied, maybe, I think. A lot of this is like, mind you, it's like scene like fades to black.
Fade to black.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. So now we're with Adian and Lysandra, and remember, they're the ones that are still with the armies. So they're trying to hold down the armies, and like everyone's getting like really suspicious because like no one's seen Aelin use her powers, right? Because it's Lysandra.
Right. Because not everyone knows where she is.
Exactly. Adian and Lysandra are holding down the armies. Adian is still really pissed off at Lysandra because she hid things from them. And he's like, how could you not tell me that this was the plan? Like, with my cousin, like, blah, blah. Like, he's all butthurt about it. So they're playing, like, nice in front of the armies, but, like, they actually low-key hate each other. They go to meet a part of Erawan's army because, like, it's, like, attacking something. And one of the Volg learns that Aelin is actually Lysandra. And he, like, mind communicates to all the other Volg the truth. But Adian kills him before he can reveal the secret out loud to like the armies that are gathered. Unfortunately, they end up like having to fight another battle, and they're like losing that battle, and like the armies I think are like really like low on morale. So Lysandra is like, oh, I'm gonna go out as Aelin to like kind of like rally the troops kind of thing. But because she has no powers and she's not like that good at fighting, she gets like fucked up, and when she's injured, she passes out and shifts back to Lysandra.
Ooh, so everyone kind of
So everyone knows
that
Okay.
Aelin's who knows where she is.
Yeah. So anyways, with Aelin is in Doranel. And she's still in like the iron box, but like I think her like mom appears to her like kind of in her mind is like, don't lose hope, like, you know, like that kind of scene. And with like one like final push, like this girl's like beaten down at this point, okay? She cracks open the iron box.
Okay.
And she sends out like a thread of something, like a signal to Rowan down their mating bond, because iron like blocks magic, so that's why she was in the iron. So she could send, and then Rowan is like, oh my god, I know where she is. Eventually they actually do rescue Aelin, but it's like really fucked up. Like Aelin is like incredibly traumatized, and like all her like tattoos and scars are gone because her skin has been like burned off so many times by like torture. Like,
Jesus.
It's really, really bad. Like, really, really bad. So yeah, it's like really fucked up. She's super traumatized. Turns out Maeve was actually a Volg queen the entire time.
Oh, so she is the main big bad because she's connected to the actual big bad.
Exactly.
Got it.
So she had traveled with the Volg into this world and took the place of, she like pretended to be one of the three sisters.
Right. Or did she just embody her?
I think she just like embodied her or something like that,
how
basically.
yeah. To the
exactly.
King or whatever.
So Maeve was a Vol Queen the whole time. This group eventually meets up with Kale and Yrene. So now Kale's back in the books. He's all good. Whatever. He's in love. He's a fully actualized person. And they take more armies on their way to Terrasen.
Got it.
Okay. Dorian does make it to Morath. And Maeve is actually in Morath at this point. Like the Vol Queen. She's gone to meet like and join forces with Erawan. But Dorian ends up tricking her somehow and actually like gets the third word key and gets the fuck out of Morath and destroys it. Okay, so there's just like a lot of fighting. Like you can tell like when I'm summarizing this, a lot of it is just like battles. Okay, I'm telling you like main points here. Aelin and the gang all meet in Orinth, which is like a place in Terrasen, and they're fighting a battle. They're like making this is like the final stand kind of thing. And basically what happens is like Manon arrives with the Cochrane witches and the 13, and Dorian shows up with the word keys. And there's the big witch towers, right? And these the witch towers with like all the witch mirrors in it. And these are what's like fucking up Aelin's army because like they amplify powers, right? So the group ends up taking up 2 of the towers, and one of them is just damaged. But they're working, like the witches are working to fix it. So they're like, fuck, if we don't destroy this tower, like we're screwed. So Manon's 13, the 13 witches in her group, decide to submit to something called the Yielding. And the Yielding is like this really big burst of magic that witches can use, and they basically like explode.
Oh my god.
But in the process, obviously they die. So all of Manon's 13 submit to the Yielding to destroy the witch towers.
And then they all die.
And it's actually like,
Yikes.
this is honestly one of the most upsetting part of the books. It's a lot. Like, when it's really sad. Like, I was like, reading this part, I was like, what the absolute fadoodle. Like, that's
a lot.
This is depressing as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, all the 13 died, and like Manon is just like, I'm kind of like alone. Like,
that's so sad.
Yeah, it's bad. Aelin and Dorian are now trying. So, you know how like the whole lock thing, like, it needs to be someone from like Mala's line.
Right, so it's either Aelin or Dorian.
Right, so Aelin, knowing that she has to die, basically is like, why don't Dorian and her basically agree to like do it together?
So are they kind of related?
In a way, yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Wait, I also heard, correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong, that she's somehow related to Rowan.
Yes, she is.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
They're like third cousins or some shit.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Everyone's
like,
a little-
why did you have to even put that in there?
Everyone's a little related.
Disgusting.
Everyone's a little related, guys.
Nasty.
So
I mean, I guess everyone, if you go
far back enough,
is related
a little
somehow.
related, really.
That's
Exactly.
so
So basically, in order to kind of like lessen the burden on each other and in hopes that they'll both survive, Aelin and Dorian try to forge the lock together.
Okay.
So they're kind of like holding hands, right?
Right.
And Aelin is obviously, I think, like, she's got like more magic reserves, so she's like kind of surviving, but Dorian is struggling.
Mhm.
So this is when like Ghost King of Otterlin, like Dorian's dad,
Right.
pops up and actually takes Dorian's place.
What do you mean he takes his place?
Like, he literally is like, I will help Aelin continue to forge the lock.
Okay.
So he takes Dorian's place. So the gods basically are like pleased that this is happening, and they end up sparing Aelin, but they destroy the ghost of Elena. Like, destroy. Because they're still like holding a grudge over like what happened. And Aelin is actually pissed off at the gods because she's like, fuck you guys for making this entire thing happen. So as they're trying to cross into their own world, Aelin changes the destination and sends them to this like hellish realm where they just have to like battle all these creatures, and like shuts the door on their ass. Yep. She's like, fuck you, gods, because she feels so bad that Elena's dead and that this all happened.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I feel like that is gonna come back to bite someone in the ass.
Keep that in mind. So basically now Aelin has like, she's like falling, you know, the whole like falling through the worlds thing?
Yeah, and that's
This
where
is
she
when this
sees,
happens.
Like,
Yeah.
Reese and
So
Feyre.
she falls through the worlds. She's making the drop, guys.
That's what you're convinced.
That's what I'm convinced. We'll talk about it more in the theory, but she's basically making the drop because she's falling through the worlds. This is when she does see like Feyre and Reese, because like Reese like slows her fall down so she can like end up back into her own world or something like that. So she ends up in her own world. She is an immortal fae now, a fully immortal fae, but she has no magic.
So this drop made her have no magic.
Made her have no magic. She used her entire magic to restore the lock.
I see.
Erawan and Maeve show up at this point.
Oh, we're still not done.
We're still not done.
Jesus.
But it's like really quick now because this is really like the final battle kind of thing. So Erawan and Maeve show up. They all battle, blah, blah, blah. Erawan dies.
How does he die?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you. He just like dies. Like someone takes him
okay.
out.
Got it.
Eventually Aelin like bests Maeve and like beheads her,
Oh, cute.
and all the Volk die.
Oh, like Game of Thrones. They kill the head.
Exactly.
Kill the head honcho. They all
Exactly.
die. Okay, but who was Erawan in relation to Maeve?
I think they're just like Volk
Okay.
kings and queens, princes. Like they're,
Got it.
I don't know. Maybe they're like work husband and work wife. I don't know.
Got it.
So in the aftermath, Aelin is crowned queen with her consort Rowan. Manon goes to the Waste to rebuild the Cochrane witches. Alid and Lorcan get married. Dorian is the king of Otterland, and all is well. And that is what you missed on Glee. That is the entirety of the Throne of Glass series. Did I do it justice? Maybe. Did I miss a lot of things? Probably. But that's kind of like the gist of it.
My brain hurts.
Yep, you're gonna have to listen to this one back again.
Like
at some
my brain
point.
actually hurts. Like I think I need like a Tylenol after that.
Yeah, we're gonna go get a drink after this. We're gonna go get a
Jesus.
snack after this.
My lord.
Yeah. That's it. Like I said, really good books. Thoroughly enjoy the characters. Very plot heavy.
Like you reading this to me, I feel like I couldn't read this.
It's a lot. It was a lot. There was a lot of times I had to be like, fuck, I really got to pay attention to this shit because like I'm going to miss something. And I probably missed stuff in this summary for sure. Or like I fucked up some amulet here, some this, there,
Like, I
some
feel like I'm
ring
too
there.
late to the game for this one. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's lost cause for me on this one.
So I'm really interested to see if SJM revisits these characters again. I don't know.
We will leave that
We
for
will leave
our
that.
next episode where we do go into theories for this SJM universe.
Multiverse.
Moving forward.
Yes.
ACOTAR, CC3,
Throne of Glass.
TOG.
All of
We
it.
will talk about it all in the next episode.
In the next episode. So thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed that. All the descriptions are...
Everyone give a big round of applause for Cassandra on
Thank
that one.
you. Thank you.
Like,
thank
well
you.
done.
That was a lot. I'm like exhausted. Like
I'm exhausted.
My throat hurts.
Yeah.
I need a tea. Like it's a whole thing. But all the info is in the description below. As always, you can chat with us on social media, like, leave a comment, review, share with your grandma, share with your friend. Anything helps out the podcast. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And so thanks for listening to Two Book Bitches.
Bye.